Hello, and welcome to the Football Matters live watch the massive game between Manchester City and after two games, I guess you say the disappointing Arsenal. I'm your host, Fazz. I'm joined, as always, by the ever knowledgeable Brendan. Brendan, how are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you?
I'm top of the world, top of the table, top of the world. Don't you worry about that. Just enjoying it while it lasts. And of course, as always, Jules, my man, how you going?
Doing pretty well.
That's good. That's good. And obviously, all in lockdown, nice and comfortable at home. So those who are watching, put your feet up and let's enjoy a wonderful show and hope for a really good game. I'm tipping goals personally. I can't seem to find myself to rate Arsenal that highly at the moment after their first two games. And I think Man City have goals in them, so I'm very much looking forward to goals. Jules, start with you. What are your thoughts on today?
I'm thinking it'll probably just be 2-0, 3. Actually, probably like a 3-0 to Manchester City. I see Arsenal playing very defensive, getting numbers behind the ball, crowding the corridor, crowding the midfield. But I still see Manchester City breaking them down, getting 2 or 3 past them, and I don't see Arsenal really launching any good counter attacks. That's just my thoughts. Around Brendan's thoughts.
Yeah, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Man City 2-0. I just Arsenal are gonna try the typical championship team when they play a big team in the Premier League. Is just fire at the back, sit back, and hope for the best. It's not gonna work. Man City have too much quality. They're gonna break them down.
Yeah, I think looking at the lineups, it's a very obvious statement from Arteta that he's going, like you said, a very minnow club versus a big club, which is pretty big to say from an Arsenal point of view with the 5 at the back. So we'll just run through the team lineups. So Man City, they've got Edison in goals. Their back 4 of Walker, Ruben Diaz, who in my opinion was player of the season last season, Laporte and João Cancelo complete their back 4. In the midfield, Gundogan, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva, and their front 3 of Gabriel Jesus, Torres, and Grealish, who's made a pretty good start to his Manchester City career, albeit an accidental goal that he scored. He still made, I think, he's been pretty impressive for Man City. Jules, thoughts on Man City so far?
I watched the replay of the game against Tottenham. I thought they were pretty average, especially in the second half. I did not see the Norwich game. All I know is they won 5-0. It's early days. You can't tell too much, but I think City, bar Chelsea, I'd say they're just guaranteed title winners again. I don't see any other big 16 pushing for it. Nor do I see Leicester or West Ham pushing for it. So, yeah, like I said, early days, but I see City winning the title eventually, at the end of the season.
I'm sure there'll be a few Manchester United supporters who will get up and about with that comment about not seeing them be able to win it, but we'll get to that shortly. So we'll look at Arsenal's lineup. Yeah, no, it's good. I enjoy the conversation around that. So Arsenal's lineup, as we stated before, they've gone to a back 4. So we've got Leno in goals, Suarez, Chambers, Holding, Kolasinac, and Tierney, and as the back 5. Midfield of Xhaka and Smith Rowe, interesting midfield there with Saka and Odegaard out wide and Aubameyang up front. Brendan, take me through that lineup.
It's a lineup put from a manager that's under pressure. That's what that lineup speaks to me. Like Arteta's feeling the pressure. If he doesn't get a result against Man City, 3 games without a win, 3 games potentially with no points on the board, that's it's not looking good. So he's worried, and that's a worried lineup that he's put out. That's a man that is worried has put that team out.
It could be potentially 3 games without a goal as well, which is another thing to
that's most likely. I don't see him scoring even.
Yeah, I mean that's huge.
Like a penalty, maybe. That's probably the best shot
set piece. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a nervous lineup, a safe lineup, a almost get on your knees and pray lineup. yeah, I think
I
that's
also think it's kind of makeshift. It seems like he doesn't have his best team available just yet. Not to make excuses for him, but I think that's a factor as well.
yeah, spot on. I agree. Now, moving on, it would be very, very remiss of us to not mention probably the biggest news in world football since Messi signed with PSG, and that is overnight, Cristiano Ronaldo has made a unbelievable and insane return to Manchester United. Brendan, take me through that. What were your thoughts when you woke up this morning and saw that?
I was actually up when Fabrizio Romano tweeted out, "Here we go." So, and we all know when Fabrizio Romano tweets, "Here we go," it's a done deal. So I knew basically, and that's like it's not like this is the craziest window. Like you talk about Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe's at Real Madrid too. So like, it's just a crazy. Like 3 of the top 5 players in the world have moved clubs this transfer window. Like that's just ridiculous. We'll never see anything like that probably ever again. But yeah, no, it's a remarkable story. Ronaldo's going to retire at Man U. At least that's the talk. 2-year deal, with no option to extend that an extra year. So he's literally there for 2 years, and then that's it. It's no, it's a good signing for United. It's gonna bring the fans, and now they have like a lot of world class players. Like Varane's world class, Bruno Fernandes is world class, Ronaldo's world class. Yeah. And like all 3 of those players I mentioned are leaders as well. Like they have leadership in their team now.
Well, Jules, I'll give you the floor because I know you've got a very interesting and different opinion to the Ronaldo signing, which I personally tend to agree with your opinion. But I want you to have the floor and tell the viewers what's your opinion on this Ronaldo signing as far as for United.
I actually have a sort of like mixed. I mean, what I gave in the chat isn't sort of entirely reflective of my view. It's more of a mixed opinion. On the one hand, obviously Ronaldo is beyond world class. Just doesn't do Ronaldo justice to call him world class. He's amazing, just ridiculously in his own league type of athlete. Even at 36, you'd think he's still in his late 20s. He'll add depth to the forward line. He'll add extra options. You have to rotate from Champions League and things like that. Probably be a great leader that can sort of inspire the rest of the team just because of his presence and whatnot. He'll get a lot of scoring roles, goals and assists. He'll bring that to the team as well, which they're probably going to need. However, I think that this kind of, and obviously he'll also be a very marketable sign. Like he'll sell more T-shirts and all that. So just from a revenue standpoint, he'll be very good for United. However, I think that with Ronaldo now in the team, they're sort of in a similar position to Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, but with a much more improved back 4, in the sense that they have a lot of quality up front, but very lacking in central midfield. Because if you look at their midfield, Fred, I think, is just a very average central midfield, especially for a player especially for a team that's pushing for a league title. I think McTominay has room to grow, but he also needs a very good dance partner alongside him. I think Matic is reliable on a rotational basis, but not necessarily a first team centre back for a team like Manchester United. And where we've actually seen a lot of quality from Pogba in his first 2 games, I think he's a player that's just very prone to going missing. So, like if Pogba has a repeat of his previous season, where 3 or 4 really good games, then some average games, I think that even with Ronaldo in the team, they're not really title contenders. I see him more as like a top 4 contender.
Yeah, I think.
And also, one thing I want to throw in, this kind of brings into question like who do you sort of push out of the 4? Because with their 4 line, it's now Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, and then Fernandes and Lingard are your 2 options as far as like your attacking mid. Obviously, Fernandes will be the first choice, but with that much depth and you sort of attacking third, who gets pushed out of the team? Do they push probably Martial out of the team since he hasn't really proven himself to be a first team quality player? Do they give Lingard off to West Ham United? Like, what's the deal there? That's another thing I'm kind of interested to find out. Like, do they stick with what they have, or do they also, especially because of like the COVID impact and probably want to reduce the wage bill, do they look at one of their front third players and say, you're no longer needed here because of what we have with Ronaldo? Like, that's another thing I'm kind of wondering about.
Yeah, I think you make a great points, and I'm in your camp there as far as their midfield and how that's going to go. I think United fans, rightly so, are pretty up and about, pretty cock a hoot, pretty. We've got a couple here. So from the Andy, I'll just show you Viva Ronaldo, and we are a 1,000,000% winning the treble. Josh. You don't need a CDM when you've got quality defence. Yeah, so the United fans are up and about, which fair enough, mate. They've got Ronaldo, mate. Ronaldo. He is just the boss, right? But it's a long season. It's a tough league. The whole mindset of if you score 3, we'll score 4. That's fine. That's all well and good. But it's a dangerous game to play. I think you need to. Teams need to prioritise their midfield and defence. I'm excited personally. I'm excited to see Ronaldo back in the league, of course. But I think it's a watch this space. I think it's a real watch this space. And
it's something to go either way. Not in terms of like, sorry to cut you off. Like it's not necessarily in terms of like will Ronaldo perform? Because I think if he, bar like an injury, I think he'll definitely be one of the top 5 players in the entire league this season. It's more of like, how does United as a whole benefit? Do they become a top 4? Do they become like a title contender as a result of Ronaldo being there? Do they actually win the title with Ronaldo, or is he just a standout player in a team that goes on to just finish? Because you remember, like apples and oranges, different teams, different circumstances. But when Ronaldo was at Juventus in the last couple of seasons, they didn't really reap the benefits of that. Like, they didn't win the Champions League, and even last year, I think they finished like 4th in Serie A. So it's sort of, does he get them the title, or are they just another sort of 2nd, 3rd, 4th place team with Ronaldo in the team? It can go either way in that sense.
Yeah, I honestly believe it's a watch this space. I honestly believe it's a.
This got to kind of, you can't really predict. He's got to kind of wait to see what happens.
I think it'll be a weekly chat. I think it'll be a weekly topic.
It makes for an interesting kind of. Well, we've got like 36 weeks left. It's sort of an interesting thing to sort of keep your eye on. Like, how does Ronaldo actually impact Manchester United?
Yeah. Now, moving on, just before kickoff, or about 3 minutes from kickoff, which is the perfect time for one of the segments and a bit of a fan favorite segment. And we've got a new graphic, so I hope everyone enjoys it out there. So get ready for Fazz Rantz. Okay. My rant today is quite simple. It's very simple. The finances in the game. In a COVID interrupted 18 months, the gap between the big boys and the mid-table teams, I'm not talking about the lower teams, I'm talking about mid-table teams, is growing to an insurmountable amount. The FA have to do something about this, The fact that Ronaldo can walk straight into Manchester United on 500 grand a week or whatever it is, and you've got teams in the same league who cannot and are struggling to buy players and to pay players and are losing players, it's not sustainable and it's not equitable. And honestly, to me, it puts an asterisk on the league. All right? We've got teams here, and I'm over it. You look at the spending. Arsenal, 147 million. Manchester City, 127 million. United, 125. Chelsea, 115. Right? All the way down. Everton have only spent 2 million. West Ham, 4 million on a loan. Burnley, 14. They cannot compete. These teams cannot compete in this league, and the FA have to step in. I don't know what the answer is, but they have to step in because it's not sustainable. And to be quite honest, it's an asterisk on the league when these big teams can just romp it through all the way. Because to me, the season's over now. The season's over. I will be a monkey's uncle if any of these teams can catch United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. It's ridiculous. And to be quite frank, and I know I'm going to get no love here with United and Chelsea supporters. I'm not going to get no love. I understand that. But the reality is, it's a piss take. It's an absolute piss take that in a COVID-affected 24 months, we've got clubs here who are spending 50 million on Ben White, 100 million on Grealish, 100 million on Lukaku. We've got clubs who can't even pay their players. There are clubs who cannot pay their players. There are clubs who are losing players.
Clubs going under.
Clubs are going under. Clubs are folding.
Like in League One and whatnot.
Honestly, this is the most ridiculous bullshit thing. If they wanted a Super League, fuck off and go to the Super League, because that's exactly what they're doing now with this ridiculous money, paying these players ridiculous wages. And honestly, I don't care if you think, Faz, poor West Ham, I don't give a fuck. The reality is, if you want to sit there and say this league is equitable, you're an idiot, because it's not. It's not equitable. And don't talk to me about owners. Don't talk to me about that bullshit. No, I don't want salary caps, but they have to do something. It's as simple as that. They have to do something because it's just not equitable anymore. And that is Fazz Rantz. Obviously, if you agree or disagree, I'm going to need to take a breather as we get kickoff. I'm going to take a breather. I'll leave it up to Brendan and Jules to go in. But if you've got any comments about that, if you agree or disagree, I'm more than happy to have that conversation.
I can probably give my 2 cents if you're willing to listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, more than willing, mate.
I don't want to use like a dirty like political word, but like, could the potential solution to this problem push us to like a sort of communist/socialist, like, not like an actual like communist system, like in the literal sense, but like a communist-esque like sport where no one club can be too much more successful than the other, and where you're actually punishing like success. Now, I get what you're saying with, you know, with how COVID's impacted the sport and how there's an almost unjustifiable gap between the richer clubs and the poorer clubs. I'm just afraid that the solution proposed by the Premier League or by UEFA or by whoever is responsible for making this decision, they potentially sort of, it's like maybe they propose a solution that does more harm than good long term, and we have a system where like no one club can be like too much more successful than another club, even though they're like more wealthy. Like, I'm just afraid of that sort of thing happening.
Yeah, no, honestly, I agree with you. Now, I'm not sitting here.
Like, if you win a league title once, you can't be in the contention. It's like if you win, like, say, you know, say you win the league title like 2 years in a row, maybe this system means you can't like compete for the title again for another 10 years. Now, that may not be like the literal language that they put in whatever rule changes they make, but it could push you towards that sort of. It could push it in that sort of direction to a degree, because if you look at like Aussie rules and, you know, NRL and the American sports, they have the salary cap system I'm actually very, very opposed to.
Yep, agreed.
Whatever solution they put here could put us in that sort of environment. Now, it may not. It may be something that is actually suitable for everyone, but it could be something that does damage to the league. I'm just.
Yeah, no, look,
I
have
to wait to see what their solution is and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like sort of preemptively worried about where this can go.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm not here saying I want salary caps or anything like that. All I'm seeing, and maybe it's not, I don't want a permanent change by any stretch. Maybe it's just a case of, in this COVID-affected 2 seasons, knowing that clubs are going under, knowing that clubs can't afford to pay their players, maybe it's a case of, hang on a minute, do we put like a transfer limit? Do we put like something like that? And not permanently, but just so to keep the league sustainable, because we've got a pandemic that's hitherto unseen. Like, we have not seen, we don't even know the long-term impacts this pandemic is going to have on the world, right? There will be clubs who have already and will continue to fold because of this. And we can't, in my opinion, have Ronaldo getting 500 grand a week. We can't have Ben White going for 50 million, Grealish going for 100, but we can't have that when clubs can't even afford to pay their players. So that's just, but I agree with you. I don't want a situation where it's, oh, you've won the league and it's, you know, every team wins the league once every 20 years and stuff like that. That's just rubbish. You can't have that. And by no stretch am I in the position to try and punish success. I mean, that's why we play the game. That's why we support the game, is for success.
It's not like the other sports. It's a meritocracy-driven sort of sport, and any solution could kind of, not that you're intending it, but any solution could kind of go against that sort of philosophy.
Yeah.
That's wrong with the European Super League. Like, it went against what's the word? Meritocratic, whatever the noun is of merit. No.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The adjective of meritocracy, that was kind of being taken away with the proposal of the European Super League. Now, this is not the same idea as European Super League, but it can take you to the same sort of the same sort of destination.
And personally, and that's what I said in my rant, I feel like that the way the money's being spent, it's already evolving into that. You know, the separation is getting bigger and bigger. There's always been that separation, but now it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just, look, like I said, I don't want drastic changes. I just want it to be a fair and equitable system. And as Josh says here, would you say that if West Ham got Arab owners and became rich? Obviously, I have a personal connection to this as far as my club is practically broke. I get that. I have a personal connection. However, I think that also puts me in a position to speak about it passionately. Obviously, I want my team to get rich and do well, but, you know, I can only deal with what I deal with. And I agree with Josh here as well. They won't do anything. It's money for the FA, of course. We know. I've said it before. I've ranted before. Money runs this sport, and we just got to roll with it. But
I actually what Josh just said about how money runs this how I won't do anything because it's all about money. That actually kind of leads into something I was going to say, but I also had to let you finish first.
Sorry.
No. Again, you're welcome to rant as long as you need to. This is something I kind of just held off until you had finished, so I could just throw it in. The fact that like COVID hit, what was it, March last year, and it sort of impacted like the end of the 1920 season. It carried all through 2021 and then 21-22, where in terms of like the fans, maybe like we're sort of slightly out of it. The fact that this has been going on for like just probably about a year and a half now, and the Premier League have done like the FA, the Premier League, the UEFA have done basically next to nothing to sort of even attempt to counteract the effects of this, kind of shows where the priorities are.
Yep.
Like we've had no attempt at like, reviving the potentially dying clubs. There's been no attempt at sort of, restructuring, how European football is played or how the Premier League is structured or anything like that. You even had the Super League being done in a COVID pandemic. The fact that like the people who run this sport, that their priorities are not changing even after COVID has had massive impacts on, obviously the world as a whole, but for the purpose of this stream, like the sport of football, that really just shows where their priorities are and that these people should not be running football.
Mate, that was beautifully said.
We've basically just handed. Well, I mean, I do have autism. I'm not really that good of a public speaker or anything, but
no, it was beautiful, mate.
Well, I was going to say we've handed football to the oligarchs, but you could also say that the oligarchs kind of stole football from it. Whichever way you want to put it, like football's just in the hands of like oligarchs and billionaires now.
Yeah, no, it's
and like COVID is just especially like reflecting that the way it's been handled by the FA, by the Glazers, by Kroenke, just everyone.
Yeah, and I like I said, I just don't think we don't even know. We haven't even scratched the surface on what the long-term effects of this pandemic might be. And I think
storm will feel the real effects probably in the next 5 years.
But you said it beautifully just then. The FA's shown their hand. They did next to nothing. You're right. As John, we'll go through a few comments as we're in the game, and our resident match expert who's paying very close attention. Brendan, how's the first 6 or 7 minutes looking?
Surprisingly, Arsenal are on the front foot.
Yeah, that's why I asked that, because I feel like
I was expecting them to shut up shop, but no, they're obviously, I know Tierney likes to push forward. But yeah, no, look, Saka should have done better with that cross from Tierney as well. If that was Reece James, that would have been back of the net, but it wasn't Reece James. So, and it's 1-0 to Man City. Alcide Gundogan has scored.
There we go. After all that chat about all the Arsenal doing so well.
God. Who was that? Whoever marked Gundogan, they did a horrible job of defending that. I can't.
So just talk us through the goal, Brendan, and then we'll get to a few of our questions.
That's a poor one to concede. It's literally Leno should have saved it, and whoever's marking Gundogan is just. First of all, whoever's Tierney should have stopped the cross because he's right there. He literally got turned, and then the cross came in.
Yeah.
And then
it was very slack marking. Was it holding?
And I think it's holding. Holding, yeah. It's Rob Holding.
So he had.
And again, like it's at Leno's near post. Like he's literally there. He should have saved that. To be fair, he was unlucky.
He got a hand on it. So it's 1-0 to Man City, 8th minute.
No, Chambers 21. He didn't defend that.
Chambers, you're right. Chambers, yeah, he got over his head.
That's very slow defending.
Yeah. So we'll get to our questions and comments. Josh, United will get millions for shirt sales with CR7. I disagree, Josh. I think they'll get billions. So
money.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. So I'm not going to go into too much about that. So we've got one here from Corey, one of our absolute fan favourites here. Love having you on board, Corey. So one player wasn't going to change Arsenal's year or future, not the side they once were. Let's not forget Ronaldo is 36, fellas. If they don't win the league in the next 2 years, was he worth it? Is what I want you to answer for me. Love your work as usual. Thanks, Corey. We love having you on board as usual. Keep the comments coming. For your sake, I hope Arsenal come back in this game. 30. If they don't win the league in the next 2 years, was it worth it? this is like the Carlton Eddie Betts scenario all over again. Getting him back, club legend, world class. They'd want to hope to win the league in the next 2 seasons, I agree. But I think shirt sales alone, having him back, publicity, it's probably going to be worth it. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, I agree. And look, they're like, I still think they're going to challenge for the league because Ronaldo's going to back like at least 25 goals in the season, and that's just in the Premier League alone.
At least.
At least, like he scored 29 goals last season in the Serie A. Like,
sorry. Can I just have that again? You're saying Cristiano Ronaldo at least 25 goals in the Premier League?
Yep. At least.
All right, at least. So
at least.
All right, okay. All right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, nearly 2-0 to Man City, by the way. At least. All right, we'll write that down. That's a big statement, man.
It is a big statement, but
I was going to say 15.
I mean, not to take away from Ronaldo, but like he's 36 and you're talking Premier League defenders. Like I'm not saying
Man,
he's zero, but like
can't wait for Craig Dawson to pocket him.
But he played against some of the best centre backs in the Euros, and he still was equal golden boot with Romelu Lukaku. Like he still is a good goal scorer.
I didn't watch the Euros, so I'll probably have to take you.
I'm not disputing you, Brendan. You're probably about 8 goals too many for me, but hey,
and
you're the expert.
And like they have creativity, like they've got Jadon Sancho now, they've got Bruno Fernandes. They're both people that will find Ronaldo in spaces where he will score goals.
So let me just there's 36 games. He won't play this week, so he's got 35 games to score at least 25 goals.
Yeah, he'll do it. Mate, against Newcastle and teams like that, he'll bag hat tricks for fun.
All right. When we're out of lockdown, there's a steak dinner on it. All right, good stuff. All right, we'll move on to some other questions. We've got Moose here. Welcome back, Moose. Love to have you. Worth the money he'll bring in, but regardless of Ronaldo, United have underperformed and need to win the league with the squad they have. I tend to agree on that. Yeah, they've spent big, man. They've spent real big. Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo. They're just if they were able to get a CDM in, then so be it. Yeah, that's they definitely need to win the league, in my opinion. And Corey, back in response to that, don't get me wrong, business point of view, brilliant. Hampers the development of the likes of Greenwood and whoever else is coming through. Look, you're right, Corey. We spoke about this earlier today. It's 2-0 to City. Sorry, Corey, we'll get to your question. 2-0 to City. What happened here, Brendan?
I honestly don't know. What has happened here?
Chambers is down. Well, your prediction of 2-0 has already been taken.
Oh my goodness, that's relegation defending right there.
So it comes in.
Oh my!
They kept him on side.
Oh my god! It went through like 3 centimeters.
It went through. What is this?
Arsenal players, like that's.
Look, I don't want to. I want to be careful because
they went past Xhaka. That guy's supposed to be a leader. Oh my god!
Look, I don't want to. I want to be careful because I don't want to. I know we've got Corey here. I don't want him to leave our show and burn it, but that was a piss take. I'm not going to lie, that was a piss take. Yeah,
I'm sorry, no. Arteta has lost the dressing room. This is even like the team's bad. They've just lost it. He's just lost his players. Like, yeah, okay, they're not prime Guardiola Barcelona level, but they're better than that. Arteta does not have that dressing room. I could be completely wrong, but my just sort of overview here, I think he has completely lost the dressing room, completely.
There might be a meeting Monday morning. It could be that. So back to what Corey was saying with Ronaldo, could hamper the development of Lux Green, whatever. Yeah, like I said, we had this chat in today in the didn't we? Jules saying, what does it mean for Sancho? Does Sancho start on the bench now? Like what's happening here?
Yeah, I kind of raised the question of they spent, 100-something mil on Sancho, and then they bring in Ronaldo as well. Like, if they're going to bring in Ronaldo to sort of strengthen their forward line, it makes you wonder why they even bought Sancho in the first place. Like, would he even fit into the team now?
Yeah, Ronaldo will play through the middle. So Ronaldo will be the number 9. And that's basically Cavani's come out and said that he wants to play for Uruguay this season, which means if he plays for Uruguay, he has to go to international duty, then isolate for 2 weeks. So he's going to miss a lot of games, right? So Ronaldo at number 9, Sancho on the right, and then probably Rashford on the left would be their strongest front 3.
So would Martial probably get frozen out of the team, and then Green will just be off the bench?
Martial will be a rotation player, probably for Rashford. Dan James will be a rotation player for Sancho.
What does it mean for Lingard? What does it mean for Lingard?
Lingard's the backup to Bruno Fernandes.
Lingard,
in my opinion.
I see Lingard getting loaned in January again. Yeah. I think that Martial gets completely frozen out of the team, and I think so does James.
Well, Lingard's out of contract at the end of the season, so that's interesting in itself. Now, being a Carlton supporter, looking at Arteta there, I know a dead man walking when I see one, and he's a dead man walking, unfortunately. But although as Arsenal come in here, Saka, it's a horrible cross. All right, we'll get to some of the comments. We've got heaps. Josh, I'm sick of talking about Ronaldo. Yes, we know he's a winner. Blah, blah, blah. He's great. Good. Sorry, Josh. No disrespect. Only mucking around. But yes, he's going to be good. Him and Bruno are going to work well together. Josh again. Look how much Ronaldo will raise the game. Yes, we know he will.
The thing we told Josh not to do, he's already doing. I'm actually getting sick of this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Don't need a CDM. McTominay is world class. I could not disagree more, Josh. Could not disagree more. If you replaced McTominay with Declan Rice, you'll win the league.
McTominay needs a dance partner, I think.
Yeah. So Moose reminds me of the same expectations on Liverpool when we invested in our squad. Champions League was great, but needed to win the league to do the investment justice. Again, I couldn't agree more. When you invest heavily, 70 on Sancho, 30 on Varane, 30 on Ronaldo, whatever it is, you need to start winning trophies. That's simple as that. And at the end of the day, I don't think, unless it's Champions League, but I think...
This is a bit like Lampard at Chelsea when after the transfer ban, he spent a ton of money and then didn't really get anything out of it. It's a bit like that as well.
It'll be interesting to see.
We won a Champions League out of it.
That was under Tommy. I said Lampard. No, I specifically said Lampard. That was under Tommy Tuchel. When Lampard,
but Lampard still was part of that Champions League winning side.
I'm talking about the level of I'm talking about the degree of pressure. Lampard had the first season where he didn't spend any money, and then in the second season he had a ton of money sitting there because he didn't spend any the previous season because of the transfer ban. He sunk a bunch of money into new players, and then wasn't getting results. And because of the money spent in return for poor performances, they got rid of him. I get the Tuchel won the Champions League with the same squad, but in terms of what Lampard was getting out of the team, it wasn't good enough with what the money they were spending. That's why he lost his job. I think Ole's in the same position. If he doesn't get results, he could probably lose his job as early as mid-year if he doesn't get results.
If Manchester United aren't in the title race come Christmas,
that's
he'll be in big trouble. Josh again, Arsenal Fan TV tonight. We want Wegner back. Arsenal Fan TV is a classic. Corey again, who's a massive Arsenal fan, and mate, I'm not here to rub it in at all. Trust me, I'm on your side here, mate. I know what it's like to support a shit team. Conte in, that would be fantastic. If Arsenal were able to wrangle a manager like that, the problem is this early. What is it? August still. If you're sacking Arteta, are you going to be able to get a quality manager this early in the season? I don't know. I'm not too sure. But that'll be interesting. I'll watch this space.
Pre-season, I think.
Yeah. Josh said Rashford is out for at least a month and a half, so Greenwood gets to start. Yep.
That was a bad touch from Kyle Walker.
No, Rashford's already back in training, Josh.
Yeah. I'm not. Look, I try and avoid paying much attention to Manchester United as much as I can. But I think. Interesting to see there. Moose again. Would you have Lingard back at West Ham for another loan buy? He's going to get pushed out. I'm guessing this question. Obviously, this question's for me being a West Ham fan. I love Jesse Lingard. I love his attitude. I love his persona. I love everything about him. Reeks of, like a poster boy for West Ham. He's English. He's flashy. He scores goals. He's a very West Ham type person. Having said that, Benrahma has absolutely started like a house on fire. Even if we were to get Jesse Lingard tomorrow, I still think he starts on the bench until Benrahma starts playing poorly. But 100%, I would take Jesse Lingard tomorrow, bite your arm off. I would take anyone tomorrow because West Ham don't seem to be signing any players. So, but yes, 100% would I take Lingard back.
We had a terrible transfer period.
Yeah, it's been horrible, mate. But Jesse Lingard, man, at West Ham's level, I'm not going to go as far as what Brendan says about Ronaldo, but I think if Jesse Lingard came to West Ham, I think he's scoring double figures. I think he'd score double figures and probably get close to assists as well. He'd be fantastic. Josh, again, title race is a 3-horse race. United, Chelsea, and City either be separated by goal difference or 1 point. Again, it's a watch this space. We'll see what happens. I think injuries are going to play a massive part. I think international breaks are going to play a massive part. Players having to go isolate. I know I've seen that. For example, I know you West Ham. Jesus, that was close from Arsenal.
Gave a goal away there. Edison was terrible.
Yeah, Edison tries to get around the player, and honestly, it should have been 2-1. There we go.
Yeah,
so he's got it.
That was terrible.
Yeah, what's he doing? And geez, he was very unlucky not to get that. But yeah, I only use West Ham as the example because I know it. But I'm hearing like Mikel Antonio, who weirdly has been called up for the Jamaican duty, where in my opinion he should be in the England squad, but he's been called up to Jamaica. He's actually going to miss the first game back after the international break because he has to quarantine. So this COVID thing is going to put some clubs, especially the lower clubs who can't replace their players, in a very difficult position. So I think it's not a matter of, yes, I think they're the 3 best teams. I think it's going to be a matter of who are they going to lose to international duty, who's going to quarantine, Ben White's out with COVID today. Who's to say that Manchester City don't lose 5 players to COVID for a month? Like you just don't know. So I think the season's going to be a very, very big watch this space. Corey, completely irrelevant, but I'm willing to try and change the subject from Arsenal. How nice is seeing Ange's success? Absolutely beautiful, that man. I wish him all the best. Terrific call. Ange Postecoglou is doing wonders with Celtic, which oddly enough, at the start of the season, he was under pressure after pre-season, but he's absolutely working wonders for Celtic. The big game tomorrow night, Celtic versus Rangers, probably the biggest rivalry in world football. That'll be huge. But yes, I'm excited for what Ange is doing. Brendan, what do you feel about Ange?
Yeah, no, I know, in my opinion, he's probably the best coach Australia's ever produced and probably we're ever going to produce. And it's good to see him do well in a league that's relatively well known around the world. Like he did it in the A-League, he did it in the J-League, and now he's doing it in the Scottish Prem. And that's from the Scottish Prem. If he does well, he could see a move to a club like Newcastle or a club like Brighton. You know, a lower league Premier League team. And
I know it's quite it's the obvious connection considering what Brendan Rodgers is, but I can actually see Ange Postecoglou going the one step above that Newcastle. I can actually see him going to a Leicester, an Everton, a West Ham. I can actually see him going to that next level team if he's very, very successful at Celtic. I don't know. His style of football is very, very appealing to those types of clubs.
Yeah, he's a good man manager as well.
I'm not too sure if his style of football will be appealing to teams fighting relegation, put it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Jules, do you want to add anything about...
I actually don't keep up with Scottish football in general, so I can't really give my 2 cents. If he's doing well, I'm glad to hear it, but I can't give I can't give any specifics, because like I said, I don't really keep up with the Scottish brand of football.
Yeah, well, I mean, all you need to know is he's doing well, and that's good. That's good enough. Yeah.
An Australian coach that was in the A-League 6 years ago, whatever it was. It's good to see that he's now actually having some decent success in a sort of high-profile league.
Yeah, managing one of the biggest teams or well-known teams in the world.
Yeah, very high-profile club.
Yeah. Thanks, Corey. Keep the questions coming through. Moose again, no Liverpool for the title. We won't be losing anyone for international due to them being red zones. Chelsea game will be best tell. Yeah, look, I'm kind of in agreement.
We're like 3rd place contenders.
Yeah, look, I'm in agreement. I think a lot of people are just kind of forgetting Liverpool. I mean, they seem to be just the forgotten boys, and I'm not too sure why. I rate them very highly. I think they play amazing football.
I can give a couple of reasons why.
Yep, go for it.
Number one, we had one of the worst post-Premier League seasons of any Premier League winning team. Considering that Leicester were never a high-profile club to begin with, it's been worse than what Leicester had in 16-17. And number two, we haven't made any high-profile signings this season in the same season where United are signing fucking Ronaldo and Sancho. And when City's going after Harry Kane, we've kind of been linked with Mbappe. Never really came to be. He went to Real Madrid. So because of that, people have kind of forgotten that we exist. And I can't really blame them. I just see us being another third place team.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I think we finished third last year. We'll probably finish third again this year.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's, I mean, you know them. Now, the international.
I can't hear you, Fazz. Got no. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Got no sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. So we'll just keep going. Harry Kill punching the air right now, Brendan. Not too sure.
Yeah. Well, like I never rated Harry Kewell. I just never did. I always thought people were talking about him as better than Tim Cahill and the best we've ever produced. It's just like, is he really? He's not. It was the same with John Aloisi too. I still don't rate John Aloisi. I don't rate Harry Kewell as a player or a coach, and it's the same with John Aloisi.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, they were just overrated players in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not wrong. So what striker do we think City go for now? CR7 took the piss out of them. For me, I think they should try for Callum Wilson or Tony, maybe even Armstrong, maybe even Antonio. Sorry, Faz.
Close.
It's a good save. That's a good save. I don't know. It's a good question.
Is he onside, Jacka? I think it might have been offside. Yeah, that was a bad pass from the goalkeeper. Oh, he was off. He would have been flagged anyway. If he would have been
flagged. Yeah.
Yeah, the flag went up. On the
yeah,
side.
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what striker Man City should look to now. I'm sure if they want one, they can get whoever they want if they wanted one. I'm still surprised Harry Kane's back at Tottenham, but we'll watch this space.
They're going to title with that as a recognised striker. They did it last season.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking this season Chelsea have Lukaku, so there's that as well.
Yeah, the likes of Callum Wilson, Tony, or Antonio, they're not Man City type players. They're not the type Man City would go for. I wouldn't have thought. Just personally, another one from Corey. Another Arsenal are signing Odegaard. Yeah, he's playing right now, so that's a good signing.
Yeah, he's there permanently.
Yeah, that's a good signing. So sorry about that. Getting bad feedback. Sorry. Yeah, that was my fault. I hope it's okay now. I apologise for that. I don't know what happened. Shit connection, whatever. So I apologise for that. Please stick around. Big apologies. Here we go. Josh. So Brendan, Varane or Van Dijk?
Both.
Jules, I can see your frustration, Jules.
Both. In my opinion, you put those two together, it's the best centre back partnership the world's ever seen.
Me.
Yeah.
That to me is the best partnership in world football history. Varane and Van Dijk. Like, imagine those two alongside each other in a back four. Like, ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Josh, this is Football Matters, not the Manchester United TV show. So
I don't think he knows the difference.
We love you, Josh. Keep it up. Again, sorry, I've got a few messages about the feedback. I apologise for that, guys. If it happens again, I'll fix it up. But I'm really sorry. Sometimes that can't be helped with technology. So Moose, who would you bring into Liverpool? Don't think we need anyone considering the academy players coming up. It's a good question. Who would you bring in to better the 11? Because it's very hard to sign players that you say, hey, do you want to come to our squad and sit on the bench and be a depth player? You know, so who could you bring into Liverpool to improve their 11? I actually don't know. I'm not too sure. Do you have any ideas?
More like first team players.
I
Yeah.
have an idea. There's
Yeah.
one player that comes to mind. Yuri Tillemans from Leicester.
Yes. Yeah.
I think at box to box in that Liverpool team he would just thrive. Like
Yep.
Isn't that how Fabinho plays?
Fabinho plays well. The Fabinho's an interesting one. Normally he plays midfield, but when there's injuries in the team, he plays at centre back.
No, but like he
But
kind of
yeah.
plays a similar role as Tillemans, doesn't he?
Nah, he's a CDM. Tillemans is a box to box.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, and there's a few of them around. I mean, even the likes of Thomas Soucek from West Ham would obviously attract offers from big clubs. And I think that type of box-to-box midfielder like Tielemans would absolutely thrive at Liverpool. I think that's something they should be looking for. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's still a few days to go of the transfer window, so we'll see what happens from there. Corey, it's me joining conversation at the time, then coming into the comments late. That's why they're all confusing, right? I don't know. I think, are you still referring to my stuff up? So I feel really bad about that. Maybe I'll retire from hosting Football Matters.
City.
Yeah, they're looking good. They're looking hungry, City.
That's an aggressive.
Yeah.
2 nights, I still want to go for it.
Well, goal difference might be the key.
Yeah, they probably just want to. They're probably looking for like a 4 or 5-0. Probably how Guardiola wants to play.
Okay, Brendan. This is.
It's a dumb question. I know. It's a dumb question.
Should I post it or not?
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to post it just how dumb it is. Sorry, Josh. Lukaku or Vardy? In one word or less, Lukaku or Vardy? Seriously.
Lukaku.
Josh, you
But I do really like Vardy, but I don't know, he just wouldn't fit Chelsea's system. Like he's very similar to Timo Werner. Like we have someone except for he's better finishing than Werner. But that's a debate for another day.
Yeah, I like Vardy too. I just like what he provides. Yeah, I like Jules. You kill me. I like Vardy. I like what he produces, what he brings. But it's Lukaku comfortably for me. So sorry, boys, had a bit to drink. Well, it's like I always say, don't message and drink. So one for you, Brendan. Brendan would surely be a good gut running box to box.
Nah.
Also, you're more of a winger, aren't you?
No, look, I back when I was young, or back when I was 17, I did play box to box at Craigieburn City, and I was fit enough to do it. And then it's just I didn't play for 3 years, and now my fitness is completely gone. So
yeah,
I'm not fit enough anymore to play as a box to box. Literally, I got subbed on as a box to box 2 seasons ago for 15 minutes, and I was done after 15 minutes. If there was longer in the game, I would have asked to be subbed off because I couldn't go any longer.
There's no bigger killer than time, my friend. That's what happens. It hits you quicker than you think. This is a good one from Moose. If Arsenal are relegated, do you believe they would collapse with mass walkouts, or the team sticks around and they come back up? Well, that's a huge. I don't think they're going to get relegated. Although having said that,
relegation, I think Arsenal can.
Yeah, they do have the toxic ingredient to be relegated in Ramsdale. Every team he's been at since 2018 has been relegated. So, and now he's at Arsenal. So I don't know. He could be the tonic that they need to go down. I don't think they'll go down, but big teams, if they do go down, they'll come straight back up. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
We kind of assume these big 6 clubs are too good to fail.
No club is ever too big to fail.
No, but
anything is possible.
We make that preemptive assumption about teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Like even if they just have flat average teams, we still assume they can at least finish 9th.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. I mean, if you took the name Arsenal out of it and you watched their games that they played the first 2 rounds, and now this one, and you didn't have the Arsenal shirt, and you didn't know it was Arsenal, you'd be thinking, yeah, this is the team that's probably.
Like say it was Burnley. Okay, just imagine more wearing Burnley shirts. And
yeah. That's what I mean.
You see them getting relegated.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and I think the answer's. I mean, that second goal. That was a piss take. So possibly. Faz, you, me, and BJ to Mitchell Rangers next year. Look, I've done my time at the Mitchell Rangers. Not sure if I'd be welcome back anytime soon.
You piss
Plus,
him off, or
nah. I just club's just changed a lot since I've been there, and
yeah, fair enough.
and honestly, my football playing days are well and truly over. Yeah, the only box I'll run into is the only box I'll run into would be a family box from KFC, to be honest. So, but it's a nice thought, Josh. But I'll stick to my cricket at the moment. Thank you. And Moose, yes, Moose. I used to play with Moose. He said, "I'll come back. Yeah, get the band back together. I love it. Fazz for manager. Yeah, maybe a possibility. Maybe my managerial days could start. Josh, again, would love to see Arsenal relegated. They kind of deserve it. I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the Arsenal fans, but I'm not taking the piss. They treated Wenger like shit. He actually did a good job with what you had. Old saying, careful what you wish for. I agree in that regard, careful what you wish for. However, I mean, you got to move on from someone at some point. You can't just be riding the coattails of the same person forever. I
have kind of like sort of. I say
Xhaka got a straight red.
Yeah,
Oof.
straight red. He's off.
I'll get to the
He's
video
off.
later.
Was it a straight red or 2 yellows?
No, straight red.
Straight red, yeah.
Yeah, I think
That was a shocking challenge. And Moose, if you're still listening, that was a Fazz challenge, and he'll know what I'm talking about.
He got the ball. Did he not? Yeah. He got the ball. Yeah. Yeah, got the ball.
So it'll be
got the
overturned, you
ball.
reckon?
Clean. It's clean. Nah, it's a clean tackle. He doesn't even touch the player. How is that a red?
No.
Let's have a look.
Has he taken a dive? I think he's dove.
He's going to get... So if he's taking a dive, that's a red card. That should be a turnaround red card to him.
All right. So I take that back. That wasn't a Fazz
looks like he's
tackle.
dived.
So he... Well, this is what VAR is here for. VAR have to overturn this. Have to.
That's like unironic simulation.
Teta's looking at it on the screen. He's like, what the heck?
Yeah, I think they...
No, they'll overturn it. They'll overturn it 100%. It has to be overturned.
Oh, I can't wait to see fucking Ty's reaction to this.
Yeah, well, let's just
Arsenal fans already leaving?
Nah. Well, maybe.
Oh, wait.
Do you reckon they're going to the food stands, or...?
No, they're probably leaving because 10 men, 2-0 down. But that'll get overturned. Just a little one for me. I miss Fazz tackles, Kevin Muscat-like. I was tackling like Kevin Muscat before Kevin Muscat was tackling, so don't worry about that. He learnt from me. But yes, don't go off Xhaka because they will overturn this. I agree with Moose. Should be a yellow for simulation, mate. Should be a suspension for simulation. I'm so sick of it. He went down holding his legs like he had it broken. Now, are they looking at it VAR?
No, I don't think they are.
I don't see. Wouldn't you be obligated to? That is ridiculous.
How is that? They'll overturn it, but they'll overturn it in the next coming days.
5 minutes straight. We have not heard the end of this from Ty.
So, well, it'll be rescinded.
Yeah.
It'll be rescinded.
And you'll probably find that Joao Cancelo will get a suspension for it as well.
Basically, he'll be available next week because they'll just they'll reverse the suspension. Like they won't reverse the card. It's already happened. They'll reverse the suspension.
Well, I think it was Manuel Lanzini. Manuel Lanzini got a 3-match suspension for simulation a few seasons ago, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm sitting here. I've just double checked because I was wondering if it was a second yellow, but no, it was a straight red. I'm surprised. They have to check that on VAR, surely.
I'm convinced that like whoever is responsible for like the reviews, they'll just scrub his red card from the record book and it'll be playing next week.
Yeah, but that's just cost Arsenal the game. Like 2-0 down, 30 minutes, 38 minutes in, they have a chance to get back into it.
Because at least with 11 men, you kind of have some confidence. Like their confidence is shot now.
It's just ruined the game. That red card has literally ruined the game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's I'll be honest. I'm a bit disappointed.
What? You're in like one of the best teams in Europe. Why dive to get someone sent off? Yeah. Like, there's no point.
When you're 2-0 up as well.
But why pump millions into VAR if this is the end result?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
VAR
Maybe
is like something like everyone's complaining about. The reason they're keeping is because you do sometimes absolutely need it in like these sort of like absolute must sort of situations, and in an absolute must situation, they're not using it.
yeah. Well, I
Like
think
they'll use it to give like Newcastle a penalty when there's like a ridiculous handball against Tottenham.
well, you make a point because last week, West Ham versus Leicester, when Perez got sent off. Like at the start, the referee he didn't even pay a free kick, and then it went to VAR, and it was a clear red card, and he checked it and sent him off. But if it's not being used for a situation like this, then what's the point of having it? Because that was it was not a red.
Clear dive.
It looked like a filthy tackle live. We all agree on that. But then when you see the replay,
like camera angle.
yeah.
If you look at the close angle, it looked like the guy just dived. So the Ken Charles just got off scot-free for diving.
Yeah, well, he won't.
Yeah.
That'll come up during the week. But again, as Brendan said, it's affected this game, and in a multi-billion-dollar sport, you can't be making those shit calls.
Wait, so we can put millions into a shitty VAR that isn't used when it needed to be used, but we can't bail out failing teams in a COVID pandemic? Who the fuck is running the sport?
It's bizarre, isn't it? It is just bizarre.
It's not something you can laugh at. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. It's just
I
bizarre.
actually feel bad for Granit Xhaka there because
Yeah, so do I.
you saw on his face. He's like, "What?"
Like he's done dirty there.
So Corey, if you're listening, mate, we're on your side. That was absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Let's lighten the mood up a bit with another comment from Josh. Boys, what do we think of Richarlison to PSG? I can't say I know much about
I'm not
that.
even familiar with Richarlison, I have to be honest, so I can't say for PSG.
Brendan?
I know PSG are interested in Richarlison, which is ironic because when Ronaldo was linked to a move, PSG sold Mbappe, and then they're like, "We're not interested in Ronaldo." So they're interested in Richarlison. It's like, what are you thinking? Like,
Fair enough.
it's
We got Jesse here. Welcome aboard, Jesse. Good to hear from you. In all fairness, the way Arsenal were playing, I thought they were already playing with only 10 men, to be honest. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's yeah, the red card. Yeah, it's not going to do him any favors, put it that way. But maybe it won't be any different. I think you're right. Good call. Good call. Moose again. This is exactly why VAR is there. Thought this was rectified after the Van Dijk situation. I couldn't agree more. What a piss take. What a piss take. How can they not overturn that? How can they not even look at
Man
it?
City. It's because it's Man City. Oh, they're the best team in the league. We can't.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'll tell you what. If that was Man United, that would have been. It would have been.
Well, I'll go one step further. If that was Burnley, as Jules mentioned before, the like Tottenham versus Newcastle. If that was Burnley versus Newcastle, they're overturning it. They'll look at it. They'll look at it for 10. They'll look at it for 10 minutes and overturn it because they don't care. But I guess they know this is. Yeah, I just don't get it. But even then, like
these oil monies in the
It's 3-0
now.
It's 3-0.
It's Gabriel Jesus, Jack Grealish with the assist. Yep, and that's because of the red card. It shouldn't have been a red card.
Yeah, momentum shot.
I'm not even joking. It's hard to even get up and about. It's hard to even enjoy this. Grealish looked fantastic in that passage of play.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like a 5-0 to Man City, but like these goals are just tainted now because of that fucking red card.
Yeah, you're right, Jules. But look at the kid. Did everyone see the kid in the crowd there? He's just yawning. That's exactly what it's like. I do look. Grealish looked absolutely $1 million there with his footwork.
Did he look 100 mil?
Possibly, but he'll probably go to another level. Look, that's a good passage of play, and it's an easy goal, Man City. But
see, they're the sort of goals Ronaldo will score for United this year. When that's what Jadon Sancho will do.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm telling you, Ronaldo's going to get 25 plus goals this season.
Is that Josh or is that Brendan?
Brendan sounded like Josh doing the whole. Ronaldo would have done this. Ronaldo would have done that.
No, I was more. Sancho would have done that, not Ronaldo. Ronaldo just would have been there to score it.
I'm sick of Ronaldo already. He hasn't even pulled the shirt on yet. Look, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm going to be careful with how I say it because I don't want to upset anyone. And I know how people can feel like it's condescending. and I'm not being condescending. I genuinely, my heart goes out to the Arsenal supporters at the moment. That their club is in disarray. The club is in a state that it doesn't look like there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I've been there. I mean, I've supported a team that's been relegated. I've supported a team that's not, stayed in the championship, not got promoted. So I know what it's like. And so my heart goes out to the Arsenal supporters at the moment. I hope you are doing well. And honestly, from me to you all, just back yourselves in, back your team, enjoy the ride. It's going to be painful, but it can only get better from here.
Another team like Norwich, who used to being relegated, like this would actually just completely sink a lot of their fans.
I mean, I'm looking at the people, and look, I'm
like you're talking just like mass depression amongst the Arsenal fan base, all because their owners are complete pieces of shit.
Yeah, and look, I guess I've got a soft heart in this regard, but I look at the faces of the fans in the crowd, and my heart goes out to them.
They can't wait to go back home again.
Yeah, they're a proper football club. They're a proper club, Arsenal. They're one of the best. Whether you like them or not, you got to respect them. And they're in a world of hurt at the moment, and my heart goes out to them. And but my advice: just stick with them, because it can only get.
Some of the fans won't get sympathy because some of them push Wenger out of the club.
Yeah,
the whole part of the Wenger out thing.
So Josh said, I actually feel for Arsenal. To be fair, they keep going backwards. I agree, but you just got to keep looking at the positives. It can only get better, right? Like hope. There's always hope. Okay, with a team like Arsenal, you've always got the hope. Political question from Moose. It's great to see crowds back, and it's due to the high vaccine rate. Does the A-League only allow vaccinated people in? I miss the crowds. It's a great question.
Has the A-League even put out a statement on that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. There's still a little bit from the season starting, but I think it's a great question.
It starts in my
in my personal opinion, I believe it will go that way. I believe that's what will happen at some point. There will be if you're vaccinated, you can do these things.
Vaccine passport.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to get too political or anything, but that's a dangerous game to play as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I agree. I miss the crowds. I've noticed it when I've been watching the footy, like the Aussie rules. It's just shit. Without the crowds, it's shit. How good is it having the crowds in with the Premier League back? So that's another watch this space with crowds in the A-League. It'll be interesting. Arsenal fan TV fans look dead. Feel for them. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, good on the fans for showing up each week, and that's exactly right. I mean,
that's loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, Jules, I won't speak for you, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But you're probably in a similar boat when Liverpool were probably in a similar positions, not looking great, but you still support the team, yeah? Like you still watch it.
I was
makes it hard.
Then, I was a lot. When they were just really, really bad, I was much younger, and because I was going to bed early, I didn't actually see the games live. Also, I had a period where I was dealing with depression in hospital and whatnot, so I didn't actually get around to watching the games at all. It wasn't until about probably 17, 18 that I was actually watching all their games.
Yeah.
But I was watching all the games. I was watching the games even last year when they were playing shit.
Yeah, well, I can't. Brendan can't be involved.
If they were 17th now, I'd still be watching them every week.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're saying. And Brendan can't be involved in this conversation because Chelsea have never been bad. So
yeah, we have.
I will say with Victory, the last couple of seasons, I've watched basically like every game of the regular season, even though we win 3 games a year. So yeah, being there week in, week out for just a horrible team like Victory the last couple of years, it can be tough, but it's just what you do when you're married to a club.
You make the most of it. Now, look, I'll speak from my personal point of view, not that anyone really cares about my personal point of view, but I mean, I've supported West Ham. I've supported West Ham, obviously, a very, very long time. You want difficult. You try and watch a team in the championship. I had Googling streams that were commentated in Arabic just to get West Ham versus Derby County or something, giving my computer viruses just so I can watch a game of football. Yeah, and it is tough. When your team's no good, it is very tough. And the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes looks like a train oncoming. But at the end of the day, and that's why you've got to live in the moment. I mean, I've acted like a bit of a fool this week. I'll put my hand up. I've acted like a fool. West Ham are top of the table. I've acted like a fool. But when is the last time we were top of the table? When's the next time we're going to be top of the table? You just got to make the most of it.
Oh, no. When your team's on top, you just do crazy shit.
Yeah, mate. I was. Yeah, I was. It was very,
Like,
very
listen
good.
to Richmond fans when their team's on top. They're unbearable.
Yeah, not wrong. Now we got. I love this one from Corey. Still support the team. What do you mean, fellas? I've always been a huge Man City fan ever since Pep signed. Just bleeds sky blue. So obviously he's a bit of taking the piss there. We know Corey's a massive Arsenal fan. I don't want to be condescending, but my heart goes out to you, Corey. I'm hoping you. I'm hoping you can.
Yeah, and like for those fans that have actually made the travel, like in a COVID like pandemic where they've had to travel, like they've had to spend the money, they've had to travel across the country, and they're probably like maybe not, they probably didn't have a whole lot of like cash on hand because of like maybe they lost their jobs with COVID or whatnot, and even in that environment, they're still making the travel, spend the big money, go watch their team play. That really just shows how loyal they are to their club.
Yeah, and
Even with the impacts
people,
of COVID, they're still traveling across the country to watch their team play complete shit.
yeah, people have lost their jobs. People have lost all this stuff, and they're still yeah, it's not cheap
to go watch their team play.
Yeah, and it's not cheap to go to football over there. Moose, at least you're not a Liverpool supporter and finally see a league title, and everyone wants an asterisk beside it. Yeah, true. That's pretty stiff for the Liverpool supporters, but
Wait, what's
mate,
the
I've never.
asterisk? I don't get that comment.
It's because of COVID and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I think, yeah. But look, I got no sympathy because I've never seen West Ham lift a trophy other than winning the playoff final in the championship. So, yeah, I would kill fans or no fans to see West Ham lift a trophy.
What made you a West Ham United fan?
Family.
There or? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is your family from East London?
Yep. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, just picked them, loved them, hate them, love them, hate them, love them, hate them. Just depends on the on how it goes. But as you do,
I don't know how they're playing.
Yeah, Faz, would be good to get Bill Palmer's thoughts on Arsenal. Yeah, Bill is a massive Arsenal fan. I think he'd be cursing them a fair bit at the moment. Pep leaving in 2023. Do we think he'll do well in international management? Don't think so. He can't spend, and that's the only way Pep can win, in my opinion.
United spent just as much money and have won
and not winning
titles.
Yeah.
I like this is the thing against Josh personally. I had to cut you off. I don't know if that's the idea of like money buying championships. United spent more money post Fergie than pre Fergie, and which era like got them silverware? It was the pre Fergie. It was the Fergie era.
Yep, so, I couldn't agree more.
That's my two.
No, I was about to say the exact same thing. It's very rich coming from a Man United fan saying the only way they can win is spend money. Well, United spend money and don't win, so I know which one I'd rather be.
Did Pep spend when he was at Barcelona? I think he just inherited a bunch of youth. Like he inherited like Messi, Xavi, like all the La Masia players. He didn't even really spend money.
Yeah,
he kind of just fell into he fell into a team of like really well developed, like from the youth system type of players, and then just turned them all into one of the greatest teams ever assembled. So he's not always like a money spender, and also he is very good tactically.
Well, I mean, he won the league without a striker, basically.
Points. Well, also the first season that he won the title, he won it with 100 points. When was that ever done before? That was more than what Mourinho won it with back in like 04-05.
Yeah, no, and I think, yeah, you're right.
It depends. In my opinion, it depends on what country he goes and manages. If he goes and manages a country like France, he'll do wonders with that team because they have a lot of world class players. But if he goes to a country that doesn't have world class players, I think he'll struggle.
Yeah,
if you're talking like a mid level, like say a Hungary, like a mid level sort of European team, I think he could at least sort of like build a structure. Like he could get more than the average out of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like and onto that, like maybe like a almost World Cup qualification, something like that. If you manage a team like Hungary,
yeah,
I actually think he did very well at Spain because he knows the sort of the Spanish system. Because
of course,
he grew up there.
Of course, but onto that point, Corey chimes in with another great point. It's not like he's going to be managing Ghana or something. Man's going to be in charge of a top 3 nation. He'll succeed. Spot on. That's exactly what we're saying. Like, he's going to do well at international level because it's not like he's going to be going to like Jamaica or something and take them. Or, like, Corey, spot on, and that's what we were saying.
He won't manage like Iran or anything.
Yeah, no. Did we see that bloke from Arsenal Fan TV throw his season ticket? I missed it, but that would have been funny to see. I didn't say they have. I agree. They have, but everyone's saying Pep is best ever is not possible without him spending. I mean,
no,
if you compare anyone, if you compare
Their
anyone to
favourites
Sir
not to win
Alex,
the Champions League.
yeah, but if you compare anyone to Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, you're not going to win that argument. So it's Sir Alex, then Daylight, and then you can talk
Is
about.
this not a straw man? I don't think I've heard anyone say Pep is the absolute best manager ever. They probably
I've
won't
never
say
heard
this in
that.
modern era.
Thomas Tuchel's a better manager than Pep.
That sounds like what Josh is saying. That sounds like a straw man argument. I've never actually heard that actually be made as an argument.
Yeah,
They might just
it's
say
just
best of the 2010s or best since best since 2015 or something like that.
his United hatred is coming out. Talking about clubs going downhill, Barcelona will be lucky to remain unless oil money saves them, considering the political unrest in Spain with Barca. Yeah, I mean, I don't think just Barcelona. I think the whole bloody Spanish league in general, I think, is going to be on a bit of a downwards spiral. And this is probably your area of expertise, Brendan, because Josh has said, as a Barca fan, do you think they'll fold? So what do you think? Tell us what your thoughts are with this Barca situation.
It's scary. I don't think they'll fold. I think that they're gonna have to get rid of more players than just Messi. Like, this will probably be Griezmann's last season, Aguero's last season there. They're gonna lose a lot of their big players. I generally think they probably will get relegated, but I don't think they'll go under.
Yeah, and look, it's not the first time we've seen something like this. I mean, maybe on a lesser scale. I know people would disagree on the scales, I guess, but I mean, we saw what happened with Rangers. Like their Glasgow Rangers. We saw what happened with them. Them getting relegated and stuff. So, it can happen. And to quote Brendan, what you said before, no one's too big to fail, and I think that's what we're going to see. It'll be an interesting to watch. So we've got Amu saying, think Pep will go to Belgium as they definitely need the next edge to take them to the finals. I agree. Belgium just needs something. They need that extra 2 or 3% to I think contend. They've always had that potential in the Euros and World Cups, and there always seem to be people's dark horses, but they never ever seem to.
They're the Tottenham of international football. I think I said that on a Euro stream. You
did, and it's a great call. That's a great call, and maybe Pep would be great for them. Good call, Moose. Corey, love the bandit. Pep couldn't shine Arteta's coaching badges. Rate that. Here you go, Brendan. Here's one for you. You're not a Barca fan anymore now. The second greatest player left. Jokes.
He's the greatest player, but
yeah, don't even acknowledge it.
Supporter of Messi FC.
Sorry?
He's the number one supporter of Messi FC, Brendan.
Yeah.
He's the number one ticket holder.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, 100%.
Love it. Josh, could be a Juventus situation, get caught in debt and go down a few divisions. Yeah, possibly. I mean, again, I'm not sure it's entirely up to COVID.
Would debt completely sink them because United have a ton of debt?
I think, and that's the thing. Every business, mark my words, every business and well-run football club is in debt. That's just what happens. You make debt and you pay the debt off. You always remain in debt because it's all about the tax on top of that. So if you owned the football club without any debt, you're paying way more tax than you need to. So you always make sure you're in debt and you just pay the tax on the interest, right? That's how good businesses operate. So of course they're going to be in debt. So it's not so much the debt that's going to cause them issues. It's the revenue and the ability to pay off interest, to pay off repayments that might cause them an issue. In regards to, like I said, this COVID stuff, I don't think we've scratched the surface on how serious the impact that COVID could possibly have.
It could go beyond like just actual debt to like they're literally just like hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now I see what you mean.
Yeah, where you're not bringing anything in, and I think that's what happened when we had no fans in the crowds. The mid-table to lower table clubs, West Ham included, I know this for a fact, rely heavily on season ticket holders, fan intake, food purchasing, merchandise purchasing at the game. They rely heavily on that, and to not have that for the best part of 12 months has put these clubs in a very, very tricky position financially.
That's like with the lower division clubs, like League One, League Two, like their lifeblood is like gate money.
That is spot on.
Because they get
spot on.
Because in terms of like the TV rights, they get like bupkis.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
A little bit of a self-indulgent here. Mark Noble is the greatest ever. Well, he's the longest serving one club player at the moment ever, which is fantastic for him and for West Ham. I love Mark Noble, but it is confirmed that it is his last season this season. Corey, any fellas given Football Manager the game a go? I'm terrible at it, but I keep going back. Yeah, Corey, I love a bit of Football Manager. Kills a bit of time. I can't say that I'm terrible at it, but I'm not great. So it is a game. Well, I've always said FIFA is for the kids, Football Manager is for the men, because you've got to have a bit of a brain to do Football Manager, which is probably why I struggle, to be honest.
I don't have the attention. Like, I've actually given Football Manager a go. I don't have the attention span to sit through it, so I kind of just don't bother playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm off of FIFA as well. It bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Nothing beats FIFA career modes, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Too unrealistic for me. At least Football Manager is more realistic. I mean, I signed Messi on FIFA career.
It is, but it's also a lot harder to understand the game. That's why I never got into it. So many things, so many tabs. It's just like, what does each tab do?
Yeah, you have to have the brain of like an actual manager, though, because it's all.
Which is why I use the comment: the FIFA's for the boys and Football Manager's for the men. But
it would be nice if it was simple.
It's set so like anyone can play it, even if you don't really like soccer.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
you're not going to play Football Manager. It's just going to.
No, Football Manager. You've actually got to. It's almost like work rather than a game, because you've actually got to, be focused on it. But yeah, great question, Corey.
The Sims, I guess, or SimCity.
Yeah. So if Messi dominates in the Farmers League, does that make him the GOAT, or does he need to go to the MLS? Oh, Brendan, you can feel this one.
Messi's done everything he could possibly do in his career.
Mate, he's not proven until he does it in the A-League. I'm obviously taking that.
Yeah, okay.
No, but I like it. Yeah.
I'm telling you now, if he went to Man City, he'd still would have gotten like 30 plus goal contributions, probably more. He probably would have got like 60 something goal contributions in the Premier League. That's with goals and assists combined.
I think there's no denying he's a great player.
Like Ronaldo, you comparing Ronaldo's best season to Messi's best season. Messi had like 48 more goal involvements. There's no comparison between the two. If you're comparing the two, it's just stupidity. Ronaldo has scored more goals than Messi in his best season, yes, but Messi's goal contributions added up to be more goals than Ronaldo. So tell me, who is the best?
Well, it's interesting because we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago when Bruno Fernandes got the hat-trick, but Pogba got the 4 assists, and we gave the man of the match for Pogba because it's harder to get 4 assists than it is goals. So then 3 goals. So it's probably that's probably adding to your argument there. So Josh, yep, Corey, he plays Football Manager. Dude, we hear Messi doesn't play in the top 5 league anymore. French dropped below Portugal. I guess.
Nah, the French league's still better than the Portuguese league.
Yeah, I'm not
Jeez
sure.
Louise, man.
Half of the French league, like basically A-League level.
Nah, any team, mate. Any team from the French second division would beat A-League teams like 6-7-0.
Like I've just heard like really like. I mean, maybe I'm hearing wrong, but I've heard like bad things about like the lower French teams.
The gap. I think the gap between their best and the lower ones is very, very big, but they're still good quality football. So Corey got sacked from Arsenal in half a year the other day. Pretty impressive. Yeah, well, to survive half a year at Arsenal is pretty impressive on a Football Manager save. Don't mind that. Josh, do we see Noble going into management? No, I'm well aware of his situation. No, I actually have connections with him, and he's actually got a really big property market. So he's going to be involved in investment properties and stuff rather than management. I think he might end up maybe like an assistant manager or like a line manager or line coach or something, or just to have like a club ambassador. But I think, I don't think he's going to be a permanent stay in any type of managerial role. Let's have a look. Here we go. Moose, guess a World Cup would finalise the argument, as I think the next World Cup would be the last for both of them. Yeah, look, if either, I think you're right. If
it'll be their fifth for both of them.
Yeah, if
Portugal have a better chance of winning it because they have a
Yeah.
better team than Argentina. But if Argentina even make the semi-finals and Portugal don't, then the debate's over because Messi literally carries that Argentina team.
He does. Winning the Copa America, I think, put a little bit of a stamp on him. Making the World Cup final, was it a couple of World Cups ago? I think, yeah. There's no denying. I find it very hard to judge a player on international duties as well, because you need good players around you. But Messi does carry Argentina, no question. If you've got connections, get him on the page for an interview. He's a very busy man, and the time difference probably wouldn't allow that. But I can give it a go. Send him a text. He's probably warming up for the game, but I'll send him a text now. Nobes, how are you, mate? Good luck today. Actually, great question idea. Apart from Messi, fanboy Brendan, who do we think current players would make a successful manager? Someone like Hendo at Liverpool knows what it takes to get heaps out of nothing, out of not much ability or his own ability. That is a great question. I think that's a good topic
Hendo's
for.
A good leader. I think he'd be a good manager.
Yeah, I think it's hard to look past any of the English players, but
First of all, I actually don't think Messi would be a good manager. I just don't. I think that he's, in my opinion, the best player ever, right? But the best players don't normally make good managers, right? We've seen it many times. Frank Lampard isn't the best manager, and he's Chelsea's best ever player, right? And the same I reckon the same will be with Gerrard. Once he gets a big Premier League move, we'll find out that he's not a good enough manager either.
Yeah.
And Pep Guardiola, let's be honest, he wasn't the best player ever. He wasn't fantastic. He was an okay player for Barcelona, but he's a world-class manager.
I think that's a great question. How many have been both world-class managers and world-class players? There's not many off the top of your head.
Even Zidane, I don't even count Zidane, because the team Zidane inhibited was ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think it's a great question.
If you look at Mourinho, Fergie, Klopp, Guardiola, Wenger, how great were these players? How great were they as players? They weren't elite.
They were just players.
Yeah, I don't even think Fergie. I don't think did he even represent Scotland at national level.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think he kept their B team or something. He wasn't overly fantastic as a player. Then became a manager, and that was a whole different story.
Well, without adding to the Josh Manchester United love fest, I think Ole is probably a good example. I mean, he was a very, very good player, and maybe he can prove to be a very good manager.
He's heavily
Solskjaer, yeah.
And Solskjaer is heavily out of his depth as manager, and the Ronaldo signing puts even more pressure on him.
I agree. It does.
If he can't get it done with Ronaldo, that puts him closer to getting sacked, I think.
I agree. But Brendan, he was a good player. He was a very good player. He came off the bench.
He was a good player, but yeah, but exactly, he was a bench player at United.
Yeah, true.
Right, he wasn't world class. He was an okay player. Norwegians probably. Erling Haaland's going to be Norway's top goal scorer.
I collect my own argument there. Yeah. Moving on, but great question there, Corey. I love it. You provide heaps to the show. I'm not going to do that one. Yeah, I agree, Moose here. Think at least with the top 10 leagues, the gap between the second is massive. It's rare that a second dig team comes up and survives or does well, except Leicester. Yeah, I think you're right. The gap between, and that's what I went on my rants earlier on, the gap between the best and and the mid to lower is just getting bigger, in my opinion, across the world. Maybe things like what's happening to Barca hopefully wakes a few people up and brings them back to the realities, maybe. But at the moment, the gap's just getting bigger. If you look at Euro 2016, where Ronaldo was basically running that Portugal team, he would make a good manager, I feel. Good save.
From Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Good defending. Look, I mean, you got to wonder if these guys even want to be in it. I have a feeling once Ronaldo's finished, he'll just sit on a beach somewhere and just live his life. Have 15 wives.
He'll his family when he's done playing football.
Yeah.
I think he'll go a similar route to David Beckham. I think he'll buy a team.
Yeah.
Or start up a team, Ronaldo.
Yeah, he'll probably just
I don't think he'll manage. He'll do something bigger than that.
Modeling, and he'll probably just either like maybe fund his own youth academy, or he'll just buy a team, something like that.
And he'll just still earn money from just his face, pretty much. So,
yeah.
There's good large ditch defending from Arsenal there. Corey again. Xabi Alonso has high raps as a manager, doesn't he? Brendan, I'm not too sure.
I didn't even know Xabi Alonso was a manager, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I. I just thought he vanished.
I mean, he was a world class player, so it was probably not going to work out for him.
Yep. To be fair, we are better. This is from Josh. Man United are better now than what they were under Mourinho, Van Gaal, and Moyes. Ole's rebuilding this club. Yes, he hasn't won anything. Fergie didn't win anything for 10 years or something. Yeah. Look, you're right. You are better than you were under them, but I'm going to have the caveat. You've also spent hundreds of millions of pounds. Moyes, in my opinion, and maybe this is a bit biased because I'm very protective of him, but he didn't get a fair chance, man. He got sacked half a season.
No, he didn't.
He didn't get a fair chance. It was ridiculous.
It was the end of 13-14 he went.
Yeah, and he had the poison chalice, man. No one was going to succeed after Fergie. With the aging list that they had.
Yeah, well, Fergie left, not to fault Fergie, but he left a very just mediocre team behind him when he left.
Yeah, I mean,
Tom Cleverley's a starting midfielder. That says it all.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit harsh. Again, I love Moisey. I think it's a bit harsh on him.
What a goal!
That is a cracker. Talk us through it, Brendan.
Oh, I think he could have done better.
Great passing there.
Who scored it?
And it's just
I don't even know who scored.
Nice little tap in.
Ruben Diaz? No.
Nah, it's not Ruben Diaz.
It's 16 or 6. Rodrigo.
It's Rodri.
Rodri.
It's a good finish. It was a clean finish. It was a nice. It was a nice
box as well.
Yeah, it was a nice clean finish.
Rodrigo, there you go.
Now, good 4-0 now to Man City. They're looking the goods. Sorry, Siri. Another topic change. Corey, unfortunately, I think you're going to know the answer to this question already. Does any Arsenal player start on the Man City's team? I think the answer's a simple no.
Not even Aubameyang, and that says a lot.
Yeah. So.
Probably not.
Aubameyang comes off their bench.
That is a.
Aubameyang doesn't even make their bench.
I think he could just make their. I know he's got his age kind of working against him, but I think he could just make their bench. Because I don't have reckoned as number 9.
But yeah, I think I think so. Sorry, Corey. I can't see.
Maybe Turney at left back. That's probably the only argument you could make. But even then, it's
maybe Saka.
Well, they need another left back now because of the Benjamin Mendy situation, which I'm not going to go into because.
No, let's not talk about that.
That's the one spot Man City need depth in now because they only have one left back. Yeah. So Tierney would make their team. That's probably it.
What about?
But he wouldn't walk into their starting 11. He'd make their squad.
No, I agree.
What about Bukayo Saka? Maybe not the bench, but would he be a player they want to develop?
Yeah, he'd make their squad 100%.
Yeah, young English player, of course. So that's probably about it. So we move on. So love the hate for Hendo. Bloke has been a better captain than Gerrard. Both have been great for Gerrard, but Hendo has achieved more and been a better leader during some pretty dark times. I agree. I personally think Henderson's a bit underrated in the football world.
Hendo's overlooked because he can't ping 40-meter passes across the pitch.
Yeah. I mean,
But
he
he's a
doesn't do
very,
anything.
very good leader.
Yeah, I think he's that type of player that you have to have.
He doesn't
You
need to
just
do
have to
too
have.
much. He just needs to know where to be at the right place at the right time. He needs to be able to lead his players and needs to be able to sort of dictate the tempo. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to be Kevin De Bruyne cutting midfield in half. He doesn't need to be that kind of
No,
player.
he's a solid citizen, and
No, he's just
I,
does it very well.
in fact, I think that was disrespectful. I think he's more than a solid citizen. I think he's a very good player. I think he's
a player that without him, we're like a much different team.
Yeah, I like him.
You take Hendo out of midfield, we're finishing like 7th.
No, I couldn't agree more. That's a good hit again with the save. And Moo's very unpopular opinion, but Hendo needs recognition. No, I don't think it's unpopular. I agree. I think he does need recognition. I think
I think football fans are fickle. They give too much regard to not flashy, but we pay too much attention to the guys that can score 40 goals a season or ping in 40-meter passes or hit a world from outside the box.
Jules.
We don't give as much regard to goalkeepers, defenders, and leadership type midfielders like Hendo.
I'll go one step further. If his name was Jorginho Henderino, do you think he'd get more recognition?
If it was Brazilian, yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I think that's my point.
100%.
Because
Brazilians are so overrated, man.
The English players, I used to say it all the time about Mark Noble. If his name was Marco Noblinho, he would be spoken about like he was, because what they do on the pitch. England players get such a hard mark. Even people who say that Declan Rice isn't world class, if his name was Ricinho, he'd be worth 150 million with what he does. But the problem is, because he's English, they're underrated. I think Henderson falls into that category. What he does is as good as any international would, but because it's Jordan Henderson, he doesn't get the recognition. So I think.
Why do you think England has that sort of small country syndrome where their players aren't recognised as well as foreigners? Is it because their national team doesn't really win World Cups? Is it because the Premier League is overloaded with foreigners? What could it be?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it also has to do with traditionally English players are hardworking, nuggety, tough. They're not flashy. They're not, they're not scoring worldies. They're the ones going in for the hard. They do the dirty stuff. They get down and do
it's that sort of physical, mechanical style of football.
Yeah, so I think that's where you get a Brazilian or something come across whoa, look at him. Like Felipe Anderson when he came across to West Ham, everyone was like, oh my God, look at him. He's flashy feet, fantastic, and he's nothing.
Mbappe or Neymar, those kind of players.
Yeah, correct. So I agree, Moosey does need opinion. Corey, Carlton would have sacked him years ago, mate. Carlton sacked coaches like nobody's business. So love that. Man City fan. Anyway, fellas, 4-0 up. How easy is this? Oh, Corey, I feel for you, man. Yeah, it's good to watch if you're a Man City fan.
As a neutral, I don't really care, but yeah, I kind of feel for the Arsenal fans.
Yeah. Yep.
The red card ruined the game.
You're going to have to watch this for the next 35 weeks, plus cup matches.
Yep. What have we got here, boys? Do we think Greenwood was stiff to miss out on the England squad? Nah.
No?
I mean, it was kind of a stacked front third. It was a kind of a stacked front third. Even Sancho couldn't get into it.
Sick of talking about Manchester United. So no, he wasn't stiff. No, I'm joking. He probably was. He probably was stiff in the end.
I think Gareth Southgate has something against him because of that incident with him and Foden, but yet he still picks Foden to the squad. So why does he pick?
I think I would have preferred.
I don't understand that. Does he have something against Greenwood?
I'm not too sure. I think I would have preferred to have taken Greenwood over, say, Calvert-Lewin, just because I think Calvert-Lewin and Harry Kane play that similar role, where Greenwood off the bench provides you something a bit different. But yeah, he probably was a bit stiff. But at the end of the day, you can only take 26 players or whatever. Sorry.
I think Greenwood with a bit more experience in the Premier League between now and the World Cup, I think he'll make the Qatar squad.
Oh, he will.
The England squad in Qatar, not the Qatar national team.
yeah, I know what you mean. But
yeah, it came out wrong the way I said it. But.
The Qatar G's. Well, mate, anything's possible, man. Like I said, Mikel Antonio's playing for the Jamaican squad, so yeah, anything could happen. You just got to have a great grandparent who's been there or something, and you'll be right. Moose, think England has had many greats, but when you look at the most flashy, brilliant players in the old days, they were South American, and that's why you hardly see an English player winning top individual awards. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's a generational thing. It's just been evolved. It's just been, we've just been brought up to view it that way. That when you think about England,
it's kind of ingrained into us, so we don't really. See
yeah, ingrained. When you think about England players,
Ballon d'Or for England.
Yeah. So when you think about, I think Lampard, he got close, didn't he? But I think, when you think about England players, you think tough, hard, get down and dirty,
like the nitty gritty, not real. Yeah, the nitty gritty, not the flash.
Yeah, slide tackles, headers, But yeah, so I agree. I think it's something that's been ingrained.
But what's like a weird when in 2006 when England tipped to win the World Cup with like supposedly the greatest squad they ever had.
They had the golden generation.
Yeah,
whatever they call it.
Yeah, and that was like that was your physical players. That was like your Gerrard, your Lampard, like Ferdinand. Like that was your typical English. Yeah, that was like a team full of just English style footballers. And we're saying how the English players don't give much regard. That English team was tipped to basically win the World Cup that year.
Yeah,
they were good. A lot of countries were in their golden generation. Like Australia weren't world class, but they were in a golden generation.
Yeah.
England were, Italy were, France were.
I think with that England one, they were a great collection of players, but they weren't a great team. You know what I mean? Like they were great
individualists.
They weren't on paper, and they were two individuals. Yeah. So here's one from Josh. Reckon we can buy Greenwood for Australia. Maybe Fazz can adopt him, surely, and upgrade. I'm not adopting anyone. I've already got too many kids, so I'm not having another one. So, yep, sorry, Josh. He won't be. I won't be adopting him. Look, I'm going to be honest. So 60 odd minutes in, to me, and apologies for people who are watching. The thrill for me in this game was sucked out of it, that red card, that rubbish red card. And at the moment, I think we're waiting for the death by 1,000 cuts at the moment. You're just watching it because you know what's going to happen. And poor Arsenal, they're holding on, but yeah.
This is where soccer differs from other sports. Like in AFL, you don't have a sending off ruining an entire game.
I think
we don't really have that. Like that's the thing with soccer. Like I would just a dumb red card could just deflate an entire game that's got up to that point.
Well, it can, and we've seen it before, and we're seeing it now. I mean, you could mount an argument saying that City were already 2-0 up, so it didn't really matter. But at the end of the day, 2-0 is not a great. I mean, we've seen it so many times.
Yeah, you were getting goals. It was exciting. Now the goals kind of feel dirty because it's with a man advantage.
Spot on. Couldn't agree more. Now, whilst we've got a bit of lull in play. Tell me, Brendan, I need this from a personal point of view. What's happening with Kurt Zouma?
I don't know.
Is he coming to West Ham?
I hear like a lot of clubs are interested. I know West Ham are interested. I know Sevilla are interested. There's a lot of clubs that want him. I don't know where he's going to go. I like him. I want him to stay at Chelsea, but
I want him at West Ham.
I mean, he'd walk straight into your starting 11, right?
Oh, of course.
He's just a defender, right?
Yeah, he'd replace Craig Dawson.
Yeah.
Chelsea like they have depth down back, or could they not afford to? Well,
they want to try and sign Koundé, don't they?
I think we've signed Koundé.
Have you?
I think so. I think Sevilla have agreed a £40 million bid.
Well, see, that's why, because I thought that Zouma was going to be involved in that deal.
Yeah, so did I, but I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's confirmed that we've actually got Koundé. I don't think he's at the club yet, but
yeah,
but
he will be. Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah. Last I heard, the information I got was that Zouma was doing the medical. He was having a medical in France, and he stayed in France because he had a family tragedy. So he was staying in France, selected for the French squad. So he was doing a medical there. But he won't join West Ham until after the international break. So he'll sign the details and anything. But yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm hoping that's the case because he'd be very handy for us. He'd be our best centre back. So Moosian, considering the domination of Man City in this modern era, can they be placed into the greatest clubs category? I know they don't have the titles, etc., as the original Big Four, but their dominance is hard to compare. It's a good point. I mean, obviously, Liverpool fans, Man United fans, Arsenal fans, they can always fall back on look how many titles we've got. But there's no denying that in the modern era, Man City have been a ridiculously successful club. Yes, you can say it's the money, but as we've stated before, everyone's spending money. In my opinion, there'll be a generation of young supporters, probably of our maybe our age, a bit younger. I know I'm a little bit older than you boys, but maybe a little bit younger than you guys, who have grown up and see Manchester City as the greatest team they've ever seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were younger fans just born into the Manchester City era.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. I think they need the recognition. Although, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, Chelsea of that, what was the season you went back to back? Was it 16-17 or 15-16 when you went back to back?
No, that was like 05, 06, 06.
Oh, was it even early?
Yeah,
there was one after that as well.
They've won like 4 league titles, I think.
I don't think we went back to back recently. I think we won one, then City won one, then we won one after City.
Yeah.
Hang on, their titles were 04, 05, 05, 06, 09, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17. They won 2 in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
there was a fair Mourinho one, and then Leicester one because Chelsea had sort of a.
Yeah, you're right. So that was amazing how you always fit. Yeah, always amazing how you forget that Leicester City one. But that's what I was thinking, the 14, 15, 16, 17. That Chelsea's team then was fantastic. Your 04, 05 team was fantastic.
See, now that should be a red card.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
That's a leg breaker. And it won't be.
Ooh.
Yellow. Oh, of course. Yep.
I bet the Sheik is writing these referees' checks, I guarantee it.
Oh.
Like, he's literally kicked his legs while his boot's in the ground, so he starts to keeping his leg in the ground, so it can only bend one way.
That's a shit
It's a leg breaker.
It's unsportsmanlike.
It is. Now, with what we were talking about, just going back to what we we're talking about with the titles. So, since Manchester City won their first one in 2011, they've actually won five titles in 10 years. That's a fair that's a fair amount, you know. I think
that's like dominating an era, basically.
Yeah, they're the best team of the era.
And I think that's what Bruce was alluding to. Will they have that recognition? I mean, we all remember the three-peat from Man United, 06 to 09. But I'm talking about the kids who are growing up in this 2010 era to now. They know nothing but Man City success, basically.
What a save from Leno.
Slightly older fans, like you look at fans that probably that grew up through the 90s and the early 2000s. They didn't experience the pre-Premier League era where teams like Leeds United and Ipswich won league titles.
Yeah, mate, my old man used to tell me about it, didn't even know there was a second team in Manchester. Yeah, they're a bit of a nothing team. So we got, moving on here, if you want a Football Manager YouTuber to watch, give work the space to go, fellas. I binge watch his shit, something chronic. All right, I'll write that down. I'll have a look. Thanks for that, Corey. See the PSG's owners' brothers tweets about Arsenal. Don't think oil money will change heaps instantly, but an open checkbook can never hurt. I haven't seen the tweets. I'm not too sure what you're alluding to, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, open checkbook can't hurt at all. Yeah, I think it can definitely help. Yeah, do we think the Spotify bloke will buy Arsenal? I don't know. I don't really fall into innuendos and stuff. I'm not too sure. Speaking of buying clubs, Faz, thoughts on Anton and Rio Ferdinand's consortium trying to buy West Ham? Look, it's an interesting topic. I would love West Ham to be sold. I don't really like our owners that much. I think they don't have much money, or if they do have money, they're not using it. But this consortium, it stinks a bit to me. It smells a little bit fishy. The whole Rio Ferdinand business, I mean, he spends more time talking about Manchester United than he does West Ham. So do you really want him as the head of, the consortium trying to buy West Ham? Anton Ferdinand, obviously, I loved as a player, so I'd be more than happy to listen to what he has to say. I think they got Tony Cotty also on their board or as a face or something trying to get involved. At the moment, the bid and the process has been very amateurish from the consortium. It's called they're called Pi. It's been very amateurish, so I'd like them to smarten up a little bit before an
I'm
actual
not a fan of
proper.
Rio buying a club because he sarcastically told like Newcastle fans to buy their club. In a
Yeah,
very
no,
friendly-
look,
I'm not a fan of any fucking anything in football. I think he's a dickhead.
yeah, so I think he's actually not involved in buying it. The consortium have just hired him to be the face of it. As like the face of the bid. So
Even
basically,
still, that sounds shitty.
yeah, I don't like him either. I mean, he effectively told West Ham to sell Declan Rice to Manchester United. It's like, hang on a minute, if you're part of if you're trying to get someone to buy the club, you're not going to be telling him to sell Declan Rice, yeah. So basically, this consortium hired Anton Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, and Tony Cottee to be the face of the campaign to try and sell the club, and it's been very amateurish at the moment. I'd like them to grow up and do it properly before I take it seriously. So at the moment, I
I
think
think
we're
West
still.
Ham fans or any association with Rio Ferdinand anyway.
Nah. I don't. I prefer.
It's not just the fact that he talks more about Man United than West Ham. It's just overall, like, he doesn't seem like a likable person.
No, he's a bit of a flog, to be
Nah,
honest.
Rio
but
Ferdinand's cool.
Like, no, like the dumb shit he said
a
on
flog.
BT and all that. Like, I'm not
He's
a
a
fan of him.
No, he's a flog, mate. And see, I like Anton Ferdinand. He's one of my favourites growing up.
Are they
So
brothers?
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So so it'll be interesting to see. So I'm not too sure yet. Watch this space. I do believe another bid will be going in for the club at some point, which might explain why West Ham haven't been spending much money during this transfer window. So thanks for your question, Josh, and welcome. So that was a famous Robinho quote, wasn't it, about not knowing the second club in Manchester? Yeah. You're right. Good memory. That's very good, Corey. It is. Yeah, I do remember that. It was the second team in Manchester. Yeah, funny stuff. Good work, Corey. So I know I spent a little bit. Sorry, guys, talking about the West Ham's owners, but the question came through, and it's something I know a little bit about. So I'm happy to talk about it.
Josh is Manchester United, so we forgive you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just let me know if I do talk a bit much about them. West Ham don't tend to have a platform sometimes, so I do enjoy getting the name out there a little bit, especially in Australia. Not many people really care or know about them. But on the flip side as well, it's 72 minutes in. This game has lost all its fizz anyway, so we're trying to.
Yeah, City's just gone for they're just looking to they're just holding it until the whistle blows.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, they're kind of going for a fifth, but like they're not like anxious to get a fifth. I don't think.
This is another question, and I think this is another West Ham question, which I think you guys can answer it if you can remember or if you know. So, do you like the current stadium or the previous West Ham stadium? So, the current stadium being the London Stadium versus the previous stadium of Upton Park. So,
Upton Park, that's a traditional football stadium.
Yeah. Look,
the Olympic shit they're playing it now. That's like how we play fucking victory games at Etihad. I think it's a joke.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I mean, Upton Park is a very special place. It's a proper football ground. You were sitting right on top of the players. It was glorious, absolutely beautiful. I can understand the reason West Ham did buy a new stadium to try and keep up with the big clubs and really
sales and all that.
Yeah, like, I mean, Upton Park hold about 35,000. Our Olympic Stadium, they fill it out to almost 60,000. So we are getting more money from there. And there's no coincidence that the club is now playing Europa League, finishing sixth, top of the table, right?
Weren't they like 2-3 seasons ago?
Yeah, I mean, as Corey mentioned before, sometimes it's not money doesn't fix it straight away, but they've been able to build this.
Back 2 steps forward.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the club have done. So I think the Olympic Stadium's getting better. I think the atmosphere there last week was fantastic. Winning helps, of course. Winning helps. Your stadium is much better when you're winning. But yeah, there'll always be that special place, Upton Park. I mean, it's sad. It is sad when I think about it.
I don't like seeing football being played in like multi-purpose stadiums. I just think it should be like traditional sort of football stadiums with that football feel to it. Like you look at Upton Park, like if you look at like sort of, photos of it now, it just really just had like a football energy to it. The Olympic Stadium where they play like the London Olympics and stuff, there's no football energy to it. Like you can add that with fans when you play football, but just the stadium itself doesn't have an energy to it in the same way that Upton Park did, or that Anfield does, or that Old Trafford
It's very
does.
sterile. It's very sterile. You're right, and it doesn't have that history. It doesn't have that vibe. But again,
Even Emirates
when
is
you
a bit like that. Like that doesn't really have the same feel as Highbury.
no. But I guess I stand by the point as well. When you put goals in, you can have that kind of fabricated vibe. To me,
Like the new Wembley, like that kind of looks like shit. But 90,000 people screaming at it when a goal is scored,
yeah.
like that just adds atmosphere on its
To
own.
me, I think West Ham are getting better at it. The carpet, like the claret carpet around it, looks pretty cool, and the big screens. And I mean, it's a sexy looking stadium. There's no question. But as far as football goes,
like they've added character to it. Is what you're saying?
yeah. As far as
sure.
football goes, Upton Park is special. Another one from Josh. Should have an independent West Ham channel for Australia. Fazz still be part of FM Boys, but have West Ham in Oz or something on the side. Mate, that'd be. I'd love to do that. Unfortunately, time is a big issue, and yeah, it'd be good to catch up. If there's any West Ham fans out there, please hit me up. You can find me on Facebook or whatever. Hit me up, and I'm always happy to have a chat about West Ham. Always. So we'll move on now. So Corey, you watched the show about the class of '96 buying Salford. Actually, so interesting watching the behind the scenes stuff. Can't find the second season anywhere in Oz. I have actually. It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating about that group of players trying to buy a club and or buying the club. Yeah, it was. I didn't even realize there was a second season. So, but I have watched it a while ago. But I don't know. Have you boys seen that?
I haven't seen that, but
buying Salford. No, I haven't.
I know that. Yeah,
Yeah, you know the story. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, there's a few players from the class. I know Gary Neville's pretty much the firm owner of Salford City. So.
Well, he owns it solely now.
Nah, he's just. They run it together, but he makes all the executive decisions.
He's the most involved in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, even Beckham's part of it too, but Beckham's more focused on his American team.
Yeah.
What's it called? Inter Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to get Ronaldo or Messi to join, but obviously.
Ooh, right in behind, and nah. Typical Sterling, can't finish.
Ronaldo's played alright this game.
He has.
If only he played like this in the first 2 weeks, they would have actually had points on the board.
Yeah. Anyone watch the Sir Alex Ferguson doc?
Never knew it existed.
I haven't personally, no.
Yeah, I don't watch many football documentaries. I haven't even seen Messi's football documentary or Ronaldo's documentary.
I never got around to it.
So if you could find it, Jules and Brennan is so worth it. They got 49% and a billionaire bought 51%. Yeah, I think I agree, boys. If you can get a hold of it, have a look at it. In the show you see who's interested in it and whatnot. Scholes doesn't have much to do either. Yeah, that's good. It's a good little story.
Didn't their fans protest the team colours changing with Salford?
I'm not
sure. Like when the 6 class 92 players bought the club, I think they went to rebrand the club and change the kit colours or something like that, and apparently the fans were really, really pissed off. I could be wrong, but I heard something like that.
Well, I remember when Cardiff City.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cardiff City went from
protests and shit about that as well.
The Bluebirds to the Red Dragons or something, and that was big. That was big. But you're seeing bits and pieces like this all the time, with was it Ryan Reynolds? He owns Wrexham.
Yep.
It's great, and apparently he's put a fortune into them. They're doing really good too. I have family members who support Wrexham, and apparently they're doing really good. So that's an interesting thing. Anyone seen Sunderland Till I Die? Yeah, yep. I've seen that.
Me too. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, very good. Very, very, very good. Yeah, very good. I recommend it. They also tried to move the canteen to the other side of the ground and nearly caused a riot. Yeah. Mate, I tell you what, there's one thing, people don't like change, yeah? People just don't like change. They're just happy with just keep the status quo and rate that.
Jeez. How did Arsenal go 3 games in the season without scoring a goal?
Well, they're gonna have to. I saw.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
been like I know it's been bad for. Has it ever been this bad? 3 games no goals for Arsenal.
I'm not too sure.
Like this is a whole other level of terrible that they're in.
They have a striker that 3 seasons ago won the Golden Boot, and they can't score a goal.
Yeah, I think Arteta's gone like tomorrow morning.
Well, the funny thing about it is, and I don't want to bury the boots in, so I apologise again to Arsenal fans, but I did read that they're gonna have to choose their goal of the season from practice matches. Sorry,
Like
goal
friendlies.
of the month. Sorry, goal of the month. They're gonna have to choose their
Like
goal
a
of the month
friendly.
from friendly. Yeah.
Oh god, that is brutal.
That is brutal. Or training. It's brutal. I kind of feel like Arsenal turn into Sunderland. I hope not, but I can see it. A biggish club going down and down. I'd have to say Arsenal are bigger than Sunderland have been. But I mean, I'm going to keep going back to what Brendan said before. No one's too big to fail, and I think we just sucked into the moment. Oh, it's Arsenal. They went for, but who knows? Who knows?
It was fair. I think they relegated last season, and then Aubameyang just scored a bunch of goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, one
I
thing
think
we
that's
do
the
know.
thing that's in the back of people's heads is when you have like 1 or 2 really good strikers, they can just get just enough goals to keep you safe. But
It all comes down to the owner, and Kroenke's the sort of owner that Arsenal are in trouble.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like with Chelsea, I know Abramovich will always put money into the club, so I'm not worried. Like I know that we'll always be relatively, as long as he's alive, we'll relatively be okay. And I know Leicester City will be okay as well because the way that club's run, they'll never go like.
That's the best run club in the league.
Yeah, they have the best run club arguably in the world. It's ridiculous how good that club is ran. So yeah, they'll never go down. They'll only go up as long as their owner's in charge.
100%, and of course, it's remiss of me, Josh. They could choose a goal from the West Brom game. Obviously, in the League Cup, Arsenal did beat West Brom 6-0. But yeah, I mean, Premier League goal of the month. Don't ruin a good joke with fact. That's all good. So. Moose gonna make their documentary interesting. Really look forward to the dressing room to see how bad it is in there. Yes, they're filming a documentary, aren't they? Arsenal. Is that what you're referring to, Moose? I think if you can reply to that, is that true that Arsenal are filming a documentary at the moment? Did you boys know anything about that?
Arsenal,
nope,
no, I haven't.
I
I don't really read football news all that often. I can't just wait for you guys to tell me, oh, Ronaldo's signed for United. I don't really read this stuff.
I'll have a quick look.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Because it was almost in there. Got cut out well by the defender.
Yeah, so here it is. So filming at Arsenal, right? The Arsenal, Amazon are filming behind the scenes Arsenal documentary for this season. Mate,
no wonder they're doing bad.
That'll be an insane watch, yeah. Yeah, and as Moose said, yeah, exactly. The same as Tottenham did last year, yeah. Sunderland style. Sunderland style. That'll be fantastic. Yep, yeah. Same as Tottenham. Same thing. Amazon. How juicy would that be?
Have you noticed the thing when Tottenham were doing it? They were doing horrible. Now Arsenal are doing it. They're doing horrible. If Chelsea do it, no, I don't want it. I don't want us to do a documentary. No, it's cursed. It's cursed. Don't want it anywhere near our club. Tell them to get stuffed. To be fair, I think Thomas Tuchel would tell them to get stuffed.
Oof.
What a goal.
That's 5.
5-0.
Jeez,
I said 2-0. No, Fernand Torres.
No, so was it better than the Rodri goal?
Well, I mean, it's a good ball in. It's a header.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's it's a
what
good
I don't understand. Fernand Torres, like that is to me. His parents have tried to name me Fernando, haven't they? So is the next Fernando Torres.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Right, so they named him Fernand so that he's like Fernando, but he's not like Fernando because his name's different. But he has the same. No, Ben White. I still think Ben White's recovering from injury, Josh.
He's COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, he had COVID last week, so I think he's still recovering.
Yeah. Yep. Still recovering. Awesome. It's really cool, Josh. Is that Josh from YouTube, or is it Josh Kirby from Facebook, or is it hard to know who it is? But it's good to have people adding to our chat, to our show, especially in a game that, I mean, it's a stark difference, isn't it? You know, a couple of weeks ago when we did the United Leeds game, it was 5-1. We're up and about. The goals were sick, but these goals have just been, since the red card, it's been crap.
Yep. Well, I was expecting once the red card came in, they just opened up. And Man City underprepared. They're that sort of team that they don't hold back. They just keep going.
Like,
Yeah.
even with 11 minutes,
It's the same with when he was at Barca. They just had no remorse. They just kept going.
Spot on. So we're into the final 5 minutes. Now, Josh, Brendan, your predictions were what, 2-0?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Jules, you said 3-0.
I said, like, I didn't give an exact. I gave like 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, I think I said about 3 as well. So
if it was 11 men, it'd probably be like a 3-0 game. I mean, it is end up being 5, but with the send off, you have to consider.
Yeah.
That, so.
Yeah, you're right. I guess we reflect. Yeah, I guess
Go on, Laporte. Oh.
What does this mean? What does this mean for Arsenal? You know, where to from here? I think they've got Norwich next week.
They'll beat Norwich.
You expect them to get a.
I think they'll beat Norwich.
They have to wait until the team is full strength. You know, once the players are more fit and once Ben White's more worked his way into the team, once they're like a fully fit team, just go from there. But they've got to tough it out until then.
Maybe a fresh voice might be
needed. I don't like to be one of those guys who makes excuses, but I do think they're kind of an undermanned team that could partly just be an influencing factor in terms of why they're not playing particularly great. I think they've just got to wait until they're fully fit, which they'll probably be around week 7, week 8, and then from there, just hope they get enough results to stay afloat.
Arsenal are in trouble, man. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be worried.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
They just have no like creativity. I mean, they signed Odegaard. He's decent at creating chances, but apart from that, they've got no one.
Yeah.
Like one creative player isn't enough. Like you look at Chelsea, you look at Liverpool, you look at Man City. They've got like 5 or 6 players that can create.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna
in all of those squads.
Here's the thing with Odegaard. I'm not gonna fault him solely because like got to affect the mitigating circumstances. How much has he created in his first 3 games? And you got.
This is his first game that he's played.
I think it's like his second, isn't it?
Nah.
I'm sure he played last week.
No, he didn't play last week. They signed him. I think they signed him. They signed him like just before last Friday, like the last game. So they had to like. He had to isolate for a week.
So
this is his first game in the team.
You need to watch the Tottenham doc as the Mourinho pep talks are legendary. Bloke tells the players they need more CUNT about them. Some of the actual conversations are insane. It's things you don't really expect, you know, when you see them doing their interviews and stuff from behind the scenes. I love it. I actually really love docos like that, and I wish there were more. But I'm agreeing with Brendan. I don't want them to be about West Ham because ends up turns your club to shit. David Silva, player who could make a coach, I reckon, went to the Prem, seemed to see the game like not many other people could. Knows what it takes to succeed. One of my absolute all-time favourites, David Silva, and I tend to agree. He was different class. Brendan, tell us what you thought about David Silva.
No, he was world class. I actually went to a Man City training day with Josh. Raheem Sterling was young back then. I was like 10, 11, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was young. We were
Was this
young,
when
and
City
like
went to Australia?
Edin Dzeko was still at the club. All of that, yeah. It was the first time Man City came to Australia,
That was
and
2015.
yeah,
You
no,
would have
he
been
was.
like
Was it
probably 14 or
2015?
15.
Nah, it wasn't 2015. It was earlier than that, surely.
David
I
Silva.
remember, I remember in 2015 they came to Australia and they played a game against Melbourne City at Gold Coast Stadium.
Josh would know anyway. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
long time ago. But yeah, Edin Dzeko was still there. But yeah, David Silva. Just watching him train, and Joe
Yeah.
Hart as well. That guy was amazing, like in training.
So
He was
David
flying all
Silva
over the place.
David Silva signed with Manchester City in 2010. So, and I think they came. So he was there at 2010. So I think they came to Australia. Yeah, probably about that 15, 16 mark. But
It was around. It
yeah,
was like around the same time the Melbourne Heart got
Yeah,
bought
okay,
out.
so I would have been like 16. Like I would have been like 15, 16 when they came then.
Yeah, yeah.
Still
so
young.
was it Stefan Jovetic still there?
Ah, yeah, I think he was, but he wasn't there. It was Xhaka was the only striker that was there. Aguero
Yeah,
didn't go. Aguero didn't come down. David Silva came down. A few other. Vincent Company was there. There was a few. Joe Hart,
yeah,
Sterling.
yeah.
But yeah, it
He
was
was a he
before
was
they signed De Bruyne. I'm pretty sure it was back before they signed Kevin De Bruyne.
He was signed around the same time that Pep came to the club.
Yeah,
Because that was around the time we couldn't break into Mourinho's Chelsea.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you put like, imagine if Chelsea kept Mohamed Salah and Kevin De Bruyne, would be the best team the world's ever seen.
yeah,
Also, City, Liverpool's trajectory would have been different because they were very key players in both
What a
teams.
touch! Oh, what a save!
I think
I'm
I think
glad he
Lino,
hasn't scored.
yeah, I think Lino's actually been pretty good. I know he's conceded 5, but
Yeah, you have to consider this the red card. Like considering the
yeah,
circumstances, probably been the best performer today.
I think the So Josh is saying it was 2015. Yaya was there. Yeah, I think it's one of those cases. If you were going to pick a man of the match for Arsenal, you'd have to
It'd be
say
Leno.
Leno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, even with the circumstances, he's still giving it his all.
Mm.
Thank goodness Leno said that, because I did not want Joao Cancelo scoring after that incident with Xhaka.
Oh, the dive.
He shouldn't even be on the pitch after that.
Hopefully, he gets suspended for next week. Who are they playing next week? Hopefully, he gets suspended.
I think they've got. I don't know who they've got. I can check.
I can find it here. They play Leicester away.
Oh,
So if he's not
Good
playing for that
game,
one, that
but
can be key.
nah, they've still got Kyle Walker though. That's the problem. Like their right back's not really.
Yeah, they got depth, so. But even still, they shouldn't be playing for that game after the dive.
so here we go. So it moves on City, and I know you're a big fan like myself, Faz. So yep, a big Melbourne City fan. I don't think City buying out Hart has created the inroads into European football like many of us thought. I say this as it'd be good for some of these older players to spend a few games as marquees here. Yeah, I think that's a really good topic. Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm thinking we are starting to see the fruits of the Man City group on the A League. It's probably a conversation for another time, given that the show is going to end soon. But please raise this again another time because I think it's a great conversation. I agree. Some of these big name players would do good to spend a few, even half a season here as a marquee type, just to bridge those gaps. So I think that's a really good point. Yep. So thanks for that, Moose. And as always, thank you for your contribution. So it's full time here. Man City winning 5-0. I think whilst we might have expected something like that. I don't think we saw it coming. The red card was garbage. There's not much we need to reflect on the game. We'll just go around the tables for a final thought on the game. So, Brendan, final thought from you, mate.
Well, look, Man City came out and they did exactly what I thought they would do. Like I said, the 5 at the back for Arsenal wouldn't be enough to hold Man City out. I wasn't expecting 5 goals, but you could put that down to the red card. And honestly, if they don't overturn that, that's a disgrace. That's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen from any ref. Like the fact that didn't go to VAR is ridiculous. Because that's a big moment in a game. Like what was like 18 minutes in or something. A straight red at 18 minutes in. It was his first tackle as well. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jules, your final thoughts on the game?
I think the fact that we spoke very little about the game itself kind of says it all. It was just kind of here and there. Oh, here's a good save. Here's a goal. Just was kind of. I've already given my thoughts on like how the red card like kind of ruined everything, but it was just kind of your standard game. City won as you thought they would. Arsenal didn't really like even before the card didn't turn up as you thought they would, and I mean, there's kind of a reason we were talking more about just other football related stuff as opposed to the game itself. It just wasn't overly exciting. I mean, it wasn't boring. We've seen more boring football games, but it just wasn't overly exciting.
Yeah, no, I agree on that one. One final one from Moose. And on this game, Arteta survives for another week, as you can't expect such a defeated team that Arsenal is to play football against the most dominant team. Yeah, I agree with that. They probably give him after the international break. They got. I'll look it up now. They got games coming up against Norwich. So you expect him to get a result there. They got games Norwich, Burnley, then Tottenham. So you expect him to beat Norwich and Burnley. So they could be back on track. I mean, it is early on in the season, but it's not an ideal start.
I have my suspicions he won't even last until the Norwich game.
International
season, and this season it's like after 3 games, it's like 0 goals for and like 11 goals against, whatever it is. I'm just thinking like he may not even like just on how because like they've never in the Premier League. I don't think they've ever had a bad start this bad in their first 3 games. I'm thinking he'll be gone within like the next couple of days, and like by the time we get to the Norwich game, he won't even be manager anymore.
Yeah, well, I think international break is probably a time to do it if they're going to do it. So it'll be a watch this space, and we'll have a look. Another one from Moose. Predictions for the Chelsea-Liverpool game. Love your work, fellas. I'll be tipping a draw in that one. I'm thinking maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2. Yeah, I'm thinking 1-1 or 2-2 draw personally. Brendan, do you want to? I mean, you got your Chelsea.
No, I'm just looking forward to the battle between Lukaku and Van Dijk. I think that's going to be a fantastic matchup.
That'll be worth watching in itself. And this last bit, love your work, fellas. Moose, we love the questions you provide us, the comments and the interactions you have. On that note, we'll shut up shop for here now. I've got half an hour to just make myself a cuppa and get a drink or whatever, and watch the West Ham game. The West Ham watch along. I've had a few people ask me if I want to do a West Ham watch along. Talking for 2 hours and then another 2 hours. I don't know if I can. I've got that in me really. Plus, when it's West Ham, I kind of. I'd probably get the channel banned with how I support from the couch. But maybe one time when there's an early game, I will. But doing 2 live watches in a row is a bit of a stretch. It is a lot of work to put in, but I appreciate people wanting the stuff. It just goes to show the fans we have are really good. And on that note, thank you all. We honestly couldn't do it without you guys. I mean, at the end of the day, it was just a couple of blokes in here talking football. We love it, but having your interaction makes it worth it. Sometimes you sit there like, do I really want to get on there tonight, or is it worth staying up this late or that? But then as soon as we get on here and see your comments from Moose, from the Andy, from Corey, we love your work, Corey, from Josh, from all you guys, when we see your questions, it makes it worth it. So keep it up, and thank you so much. So on that note, Jules, have a good one, my friend.
Hang on, will do.
Yeah, we'll do. And Brendan,
my camera fell off my thing.
That's all right. Brendan, have a good one.
You too, man. I hope West Ham pull a result for you tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And from me, Fazz, to my fans, have a great one. And to our fans, we couldn't do without you. So adios and good night.